coming out, sir.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah.
Go get him today.
Yeah, you're 5B.
All right, good afternoon. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Back at it here. C Squad. C Squad on the lanes for their 7 games of competition. 7 games of qualifying. Top 4 will advance to match play tomorrow. Got Emil Williams Jr., that's me. We'll have Carl Ong, the tournament director of the Agent Ong Open. He will join me for a couple of games in Game 2 and discuss all of the things that's happening within the tournament, and then even what's happening with the Agent Ong Open, the Trilogy, as well as the Cactus Classic. All good things, of course. Offset leave on that washout attempt there from Chris Saget, and he's joined by Michael Arce. Runaway Brooklyn there. We'll take that. Calvin Hugger Jr., who has just stepped off the golf course. He said it actually is a little bit relaxing for him before he steps out on the lanes. Already seen a few more lefties here in this squad, which might be a good thing for those individuals. We'll see if they can produce some score that like Ben Perry. Joined us a little bit this morning. Many of you did, and certainly some of you did not. We're still sleeping and enjoying the opportunity to sleep in on a Saturday. Michael Fitzgerald took care of business and led this morning's squad. Fitzgerald was followed by Matt Zweig. Big 255 there late for Zweig, but almost gave up his bye. He needed to make the 1-2-10. He made it. If he had not made it, he would have been one pin back of Andrew Kane. So Zweig and Fitzgerald get a bye. Speaking of Andrew Kane, he finished third, and Matt Jones ran down the number late. Very nice 4-game block to end things. Matt Jones got to +3, so it took +3, ladies and gentlemen, to make the top 4 this morning. Yesterday, the top 4 ended at +73, with +42 in 5th. Right now, DJ Kneifel, I mean, is sitting pretty. DJ, I don't know if you've been watching today, but I'm sure you know the scores. And I don't know if you'll need to bowl. Might be one of those just in case type situations that if DJ elects to bowl at 5 o'clock. He could also bowl the Desperado if he truly wanted to as well. Nos Bush is looking for 3 in a row. He's on the pair with Corrine Acuff and Chris Sanders. Sanders struggling here to say the least. See what Corrine does here. I talked to her a little bit beforehand. She said she was going to start a little further left. But it was going to be about ball choice. She did say she was going to try Purple Hammer at 360. But it didn't look good in practice this morning near the gutter, and it didn't still look good during this practice session, or the previous one, I should say, the 10 minutes of warm up. So here she is, already at 3rd arrow, but looking pretty good. And I think it looks like she's got a combination of a couple of bowling balls. One of them was the real time. We saw a couple people throwing that. That was a popular bowling ball. Clean and gets down the lane. How about Calvin Hugger out here? Early 4-bagger. Let's get the standings link out to you. Again, now you can start to filter. You got 2 squads worth of standings to take a look at. What I am going to do first, though, is just get you the link that would be for this squad's scores once we get to that point. We learned pretty early this morning that the scoring pace was going to be pretty low. All right, Chris is on the board. We got Ashley Rep. A couple of our we got Mo City in the building. Shout out to Mo City. if it's the Mo City that I know. Even if it's not the one that I know, shout out to you as well. A couple of chatters that who were watching this morning. They're actually here. They made the trip. A couple of them actually from Tucson are here watching in person. Tucson about 2 hours. Front five there for Hugger on 7 and 8. Yeah, Rep, you've been watching literally all morning. This is where the fresh is so tricky. You know, I've been watching Michael Arce, and at every block that he's bowled so far, he bowled at noon yesterday. He bowled this morning. Now bowling again here. Every block, he's found his way back to the gutter, and it's looked better later in the block for him. This time I actually feel like he needs a little bit more surface if he is going to play there, but makes it interesting watching everybody else. Well, look at Calvin. Front six there for Calvin. Interesting conversation here from Noshbush. Not sure who he's speaking with, but they're talking about certainly what's going down, what to look for, essentially what to try to stay away from. A good majority of players, I think, have probably watched just a little bit, and they're kind of enough to know, and obviously text conversations, phone calls, etc., to some of their friends who have bowled. What to do, what to expect, how to handle it. There's no exact science, but try to get out of the first 3 games as clean as possible. Hugger. A lot of 9 there. 1 through 4 over there. It's bottom right of your screen. Got Dan Quilt. He was watching earlier. He too bowled yesterday at noon. Derek Acuff, the husband of Corrine Acuff. Derek joined us yesterday. No, I'm sorry, not yesterday. Today, this morning, for a couple of games as he was watching Corrine. Jericho Gross is over there bowling as well. Along with Ken Thurman. Had a few lefties. 2 on the pair of 7 and 8. Appreciate that, Rep. Definitely hit the subscribe button if you have not. I gotta tell you, folks, I'm gonna be straight up with you. And we've seen a few 3 off the rights today. and a couple yesterday. Didn't expect to see this many early here in game one. Speaking of game one, looks like Dwight Barnes off to a good start. Another lefty. This might be the lefty squad here. Good to see how Cortez Shank is playing this pattern. He's over on 13 and 14. He looked to be near the channel. 105 in the 6 with a double. Mike Jones. Who? That's right. I said Mike Jones. Mike Jones is competing next door on 3 and 4. He's at the bottom right of your screen. Hook. Boy, Corrine left about at least 2 7-10s and maybe 3 this morning. All right, RC said he had enough. He makes the jump left. This is the second time this pattern has been applied today. Perhaps the first time we might see it in its truest fashion. Uh-oh, you just saw trouble there for Calvin. You don't want to give a game like this away. This kind of reminds me of the U.S. Women's Open, what I watched just last week or even earlier this week in Lincoln, Nebraska. There were so many front 5, front 6 games that did not end in 200. And Quilt, who did not strike in that game at all, leaves a pocket 7-10. Mike Jones did shoot 200 even. Well, through one game, I'm willing to say there are a few players who know what's happening, or at least have an idea. And there are a few even looking down to the high end, having some early troubles here. Way down on 9 and 10. Looks like that was Kyle Gilbert. It's a good shot, but he can get to 160. That's a nice spare by RC, all things considered. First open frame there for Nussbush. So to make them look a little bit tougher, even than they were this morning. D-Ron Booker is competing in this squad. We got Sean Wood, Cortez Shank, Christine Johnston. Nice job by Calvin. You don't want to let that effort go to waste. Well, he'll be in the 230s. Saginaw shoots 171. .233 for Calvin. Acuff understandably frustrated there. Chris Sanders has battled, still battling. I'll be intrigued to watch how this pair develops. Sanders, I don't know what he's got a sub-zero forge out there. Just throwing something that probably was a hyper venom that also had some surface. Corrine tried Purple Hammer, again 5 and out during practice. Didn't look great, so she jumped in. Seeing a little bit more surface, I think, across the field. 233 probably is the highest game of game one. Good shot. It's a good example right there. If you catch it at the bottom, it's going dead left. And Nosbush. It's a good game, though, all things considered. We'll take 2-0. Listen, folks, 2-0. Every game will get you to where you want to get to, and that's tomorrow's match play. And even to some degree at this point, not even how, you care what it looks like, but you'll take it wherever way you can get it at this point. Kyle Michalowski, Jericho Legados, and Cortez Shank set to join us on 7 and 8. I think players this round are skipping 2 pair. Corrine, who was about to put her equipment down on on 3 and 4. She's got to go make the long walk. All right, let's change that graphic to game number 2 as Kyle and Jericho get us started here. Jason Mike Lowry, as I like to refer to him as. Shooting 300 a couple years ago here at the tournament where they were absolutely impossible during his squad. And his 300 got him to match play. So without further ado, we now welcome in the organizer, creator of the Agent Ong Open. The Trilogy event is scheduled for October the 16th through the 19th. Also in collaboration with the Cactus Classic, doing some winner spot opportunities. We welcome in Carl Ong to the booth. Carl, how you been?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
You are welcome. one of the earlier questions that we had from viewers were, and actually I had the same question at the time, was what does the AOO mean on the standings?
Oh, that is for everybody that has entered the winner spots. So it's an easy way for us to track who's entered and be able to kind of get to it really fast of who's in and kind of give updates on where the winner spots are, because it's a 1 in 9 overall for all of the squads combined. So it's a beat the board.
What was the, I guess, the thought process there? And obviously you and Theo have collaborated. Theo puts the tournament director hat on for your event as well. So how did that idea come about to kind of bring some winner spot opportunities to this tournament?
We've run winner spots pretty much with various tournament clubs and different, whether it's King of the Hills, or we've even had some winner spots done in Las Vegas as well as in California. So basically, we just give people opportunities from anywhere that want to have an association with the tournament to maybe help them have another ancillary side pot for their particular event. So it was really easy for us. Theo and I worked together on all of our events. And with that being said, it was just like, hey, we have a platform. The same bowlers that bowl the Cactus Classic, majority of those same bowlers bowl the Agent Open in October. It just makes more sense. It gives people another opportunity to get spots into the tournament in October while they're qualifying here for the Cactus Classic. Do you see what Tez is throwing? Have you heard of that yet?
No, I have not.
He's throwing a grenade. Google when that was made.
It's been a while, right?
It's been a minute.
Like the roto grip grenade, right? Back in the, well, not back in the day. I don't want to. I am 41, so my back in the day might be different than.
I don't remember exactly the year, but I know that is a ball that's it's been out for a minute.
Let's see. Roto grip. You know, that also doesn't surprise me. Like to me, he's always been one of those players who would find like an older piece of equipment, whatever it is, right? And he was one of those players, like, you find that one that works, and he tries it one day, and he's probably got like 5 more
Right.
just somewhere in the house.
I think he said he either found it under his bed or in the closet. So, yeah. But I don't remember exactly when that was made. I was thinking really early 90s.
No, it's not that. It's not that.
Are you sure?
Well, maybe there was a remake there. What color is this? Let me pay more attention.
It looked green.
Because Roto Grip made a grenade. And it was a urethane ball.
When was it?
I'm still looking for the year.
Maybe someone in the chat kind of knows. We have a guess of 91.
But Rep he's well versed, so I feel like there could be multiple.
Well, Rep says 1991.
I mean, that wouldn't be.
But I don't know. If anyone knows in the chat.
He moved left, right? He's on 7 and 8, correct?
He
Didn't
was on the high end. I don't know if he was on the right or left lane, so I don't know which direction he's moving.
I think he's on 7 and 8. I mean, I saw him put some stuff in that zone, but I didn't see the first couple shots.
How you liking this weather? I know you're used to it.
Well, today's been pleasant. A couple times that I've been outside. I know it was supposed to, quote unquote, cool down.
Well, it did.
And
it was
it did.
117 a couple days ago.
There is a difference out there.
10 degrees out here is a lot.
Definitely a difference out there today. I went to the grocery store and I said, I could be okay with this temperature, whatever it is. Now, of course, it was prior to 11 a.m.
Right. Go outside at 4. Let me know how you feel.
Right. So that's always like, well, you're in real estate, so customers or potential buyers who are thinking about a home, there's certain times you got to go see or visit the home, right? You got to figure out the traffic patterns.
Yep.
So if you go in the morning, it's not going to be the same during rush hour. How long is it going to take you to get home? How long does it take you to get to work?
Sure.
All of those things. Is everyone on their best behavior in the morning, but the parties at night every night?
I'll tell you this. We work for the client, right? So whenever they're willing to see and want to see the house and they have the ability to see the house is when we're going to go show them the house. So try to be as accommodating as possible.
Got D-Ron Booker over on 3 and 4. He's on the bottom right of your screen. I think D-Ron then was moving right based on how he landed down here. Bowling with Jessica Nosbush. Over on 1 and 2, Calvin Hugger Jr. We'll see if he's got the high score. His 233 did look pretty darn good. Couple of splits back to back, but he was able to save the game. Mike Hardesty in the building. There's Terry Hamilton. Terry says 2010, which would sound about right, based on the ball that I'm thinking of. Here is Cortez. Yeah, doesn't look blue though. Definitely not blue. He's just so uniquely talented. So that might be the 1991.
I'm telling you, I think it's a relic.
I think that's the Brunswick. I see a Brunswick crown in the middle of that.
Okay, yeah, I'm
great.
telling you, I think what he's throwing is something that's definitely older, but I specifically did not ask him. I just saw it. I asked him what he was throwing. He was on a 3 or 4 bagger game 1, and I just kind of asked him what he was throwing. He said a grenade. I go, where'd you find that thing? That's what he had told me. So I specifically don't know the brand or what year, but
it might be the Roto Grip.
good cover though.
Excellent cover indeed. It might be the Roto Grip version. I'm looking at the label now. It's in comparison to what I'm seeing online. Just the black grenade looks like. Michael Hardesty scheduled to bowl at 5 p.m. He is now doing what we watched and talked to some other bowlers yesterday about who were watching. Although, Mike, we thought some players were going to be salivating, especially some lefties. But it took some lefties a few games to really get going and find something consistent as well.
I think Ben Perry was the anomaly so far.
I got to tell you, every time I watch Ben Perry, he puts up score that, to some degree, is an anomaly based on the field, and I mean that without being facetious whatsoever. Every time I see that guy, he puts up 100 over blocks.
It's funny. I bowl with him on Tuesday nights in my league, and I give him so much grief because he was one of our highest averages in the league for this year. But he'll have his moments where he struggles a little bit, but every time he bowls a tournament outside of Tuesday nights, guys just rails him. So the joke is, every time he posts a number, I just said it's just greater than Tuesday is what I post for him.
That's funny. Yeah, he's something else, man. And I always go back to my first time seeing him at this tournament in 2022. Oh, okay, wow. He can. But then I can't remember the match he was in. But it was an excellent match. Came down to the 10th frame a couple of times actually in his couple of matches. He made a nice run that year, and since then, I've seen him every time at this tournament. Your event, I think he bowled Mexico a couple of times. Speaking of scores and questions, that's a good question, Mike. I'll answer that for you while we go through the scores. Game 1, again, Calvin Hucker's 233 was the high game. He's now down on 1 and 2, 1 strike. And he's had 2 of the last 3 opens, couple splits. Dwight Burns shoots 223. Nate Kiesick, 214. Nate is a re-entrant. And so, Mike, to your question, the players who are listed in red are re-entrants. This is their second time or more bowling a qualifying squad. Those whose names are not highlighted in red, this is their first time bowling qualifying a qualifying squad. Cortez Schenk 210. Shannon Nosbush at +9. I gotta make sure that's Sean. But we'll do the triple check on that. Mike Jones, who? Even. Sean Wood, -2. Brandon Knapp, -5. Caden Ament, -6. Caden is in front of us. He's throwing his purple. That might be the slower ball speeds I've seen, especially with regard to urethane. But you know, Dan Quilt, I thought he would have been able to utilize his ball speed or slower ball speed. Yesterday, he started off a little bit slow on 3 and 4 in game 1. And then Hunter Mays rounds out the top 10 at -8.
I was going to ask you, so now that we're 2 blocks in and the starting of a third, you have a projection yet?
No, no, no.
I do this to you every time.
No, it's
Every time I go, I always ask you.
no. I mean, well, because it's per squad. So we've had +73 be 4th. We've had +3 be 4th.
Correct.
So you know this squad probably is +20 ish. This is a full on guess. I have no idea.
Of course.
But nothing about game 1 really made me feel really anything better. We might see a repeat of what we watched this morning to some degree. I know some really good players this morning.
Yep.
Who had to do a lot of various things. I mean, Matt Zweig went to a completely different strategy, and it ended up working for him, without a doubt.
And then Matt Jones grinding to the spot. So, yeah, he was -70 at one point and got to pretty much even to sneak into that 4.
I mean, the best person in the clubhouse right now is DJ Knife at +42 from yesterday. That looks like it's not a winning score, but it looks like that would be a winning score. Right?
Yes.
All things considered.
Agreed.
And he finished 5th on that squad, folks, for context. He would have been 2nd on the squad today with that number.
Yeah, he would have got a bye. I think +40, any other squad for the rest of the day will get you a bye. In my guesstimation, obviously, we're speculating. Oh,
Marlon Brown in the building.
Marlon, how you doing?
What did we see Caden do there?
And I agree with Hardesty saying the most dangerous thing in real estate this summer is a hot lock box. I agree. Those things just sit and bake, and we have to open them. So.
Are you bringing gloves?
No, we just gotta hope that it opens the first time. So.
If you're watching for the first time again today, folks, the story has been the difficulty on the fresh, this pattern. And speaking of the pattern, let's throw it up there real quick for you. There it is again, 38 feet, 27.35 mils. That's the challenge, and it has been a difficult challenge. And you would understand that. Certainly, $10,000 to the winner, so it's going to be challenging. I still think it's challenging, but also very fair. Nice super washout conversion over on 1 and 2. That was Carson Bell. But it's the those 2-2s, the nine of them from 2-2 that make it interesting, especially for the righties on the fresh. Now, Corrine was the first player I've seen kind of be in the track area, 15 to 7-ish, and she said she was going to try it and actually have some success, relatively speaking, with a couple of different balls I saw her strike with. $180, I think she shot, but
She did 180.
and that was with pocket 710 and some other split.
Oh, I want to take a moment to wish Bob Wiley a happy birthday today. He is bowling this squad. And happy belated birthday to you as well.
I'm willing to share all birthdays. Regina watching. Appreciate you, Regina. Again, shout out to Marlon. Here's Marlon Brown. Marlon, why you not bowling? It's a good shot there from Mr. Burns. I could see Dwight just keeping it in play for a full 7-game block. Extremely talented. I was talking to Keith Adamer yesterday. He said he bowls, has been traveling, bowling some events with Dwight. And when they're done bowling, Dwight often watches bowling online. A lot of it is Bowl TV, of course, and he's following Brianna Cote on the PWBA Tour. By default, he also follows me because I'm always where Bree is, generally speaking, in the summertime.
Well, it's hard not to watch bowling and not have you involved.
I appreciate it.
So, and I'm excited to have you back
I appreciate that.
as well for this October.
Any changes to your event? You know, Theo made a couple of edits to his event. He went from 7 auto spots to 4 in each squad. Any changes to your event?
Nope. No, we have the same 7 squads. We added a couple of things in regards to not squads or anything, but on the Thursday and Friday morning squads, the leader off that squad gets a free sweeper that evening. So
Okay.
it's just another little thing that we want to incentivize people. Just if they end up leading the Thursday morning or Friday morning, they get a sweeper that same evening. And then the action match on Friday night with Kyle Troop versus Matt Jones.
Hook. A lot of 9 right there for Cortez. I haven't seen Tez in, I guess, maybe about a year. He looks like he's gotten a little taller. And that's something people say when they haven't seen me in a while, so I get it from the tall people perspective.
Guy's always been tall from a guy of my height. I don't know if you guys ever stop growing, so either I'm shrinking or
Well,
you guys
I
continue growing.
definitely have, but people do say it. But he's still young enough to actually may have still grown an inch or two. But, you know, I have young kids, so that's
You're watching that every day.
it's on my list of things. I'm like, whoa. Hold on, ball.
Tez is going to add to his plus at this point. He started with 210. And get to 215.
Christine Johnson is going to be in the 190s. And Sean Nosbush, excuse me, can get to 210. Sean Wood He threw it really good there for it not to strike. Second one of the 10th. He's going to be in the 2 teens.
Calvin Hugger, which was leading after 1, is going to lose a little bit of wood, unfortunately, but that is easily, very easy to happen out here right now.
Some certainly respectable scores here in game 2, but still seeing a lot of the same challenges. Like, there's got to be some level of consistency at the bottom of the swing too, with regard to release. Like if you get too grabby, you know, if you got a little bit of loft in your game, just naturally, that's got to be the same. I mean, the execution part of what I've been watching, you got to be on it, especially for the first 3 games. Like, I can't stress that part enough. Like, when you get to game 4.5, 5, 6, the pattern has, based on what we've seen, has tended to blend out at that point. So if you are a left and you're a right-handed player, there's all of a sudden a little bit of space, a little bit of room for you to get the ball through the fronts. But it's just, I won't say it's impossible, because Corrine was the best person to do it today I've seen on the fresh. So it's not impossible, but it can be highly unlikely if you do it wrong.
No, without a doubt. I think you're going to have a little more room to play as, like you said, the pattern blends out toward the later part of the block. But right now, yeah, if you're not pretty consistent, you're going to be in full penalty, unfortunately, right now.
A quick look at D-Ron to our right. D-Ron was working with 90 in the 7th, 2 splits, probably a mismakeable there in the 6th. And just like that, I mean, you're in the 150s, and he's got a spare to get to 150.
But 150 is not out.
Oh, God, no.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, just grind out, and
I think Matt Jones
even
put together
a
a nice example of, if you can decently manage the first couple, you know, and I won't even say he was locked in, right? But his look was a bit more consistent in the back half, and he took advantage,
correct,
of what he had and executed at a high level to get himself to the number, or to beat the number.
Right, yeah, because like I said, at one point he was minus 70 and change, and over the last course of like 3 or 4 games, he just grinded back out.
Let's look at, and by the way, on Tournament Bowl, so click the standings link if you haven't. But you can then filter. There's a drop down there for you. So you can look at only yesterday's squad. You can look at today's 7 a.m. squad. Then you can look at up to whatever squad it is. So right now you can look at up to or today's 12 o'clock with 1 game on it. But Matt Jones went 176, 171, 192. That's about as good of a managing on the fresh as you can have.
Yep.
Then he went 210, 216, 211, 227. He didn't knock anybody's socks off, but that's plenty for what's needed to be successful. So just during qualifying, obviously match play is a completely different story, and then there'll be more strategy involved, breaking down pairs to help it be favorable for the players themselves.
And Sunday's scoring off pace is going to be obviously higher, just with, you know, you have the best of the best making it into the finals, and then they're just going to play them better.
Oh, nice shot.
Plus, I've already seen it now and kind of have an expectation of what's going in for tomorrow. Jessica.
I like, this is my first time seeing her. She looks familiar, but maybe they bowled this event in the past. But her natural ball motion looks like, and she's not getting a ton on it, of course, so there's, to some degree, it's floating. Kind of what, not all the way the same, but kind of what Matt Zweig was doing a little bit. Although he was more like kind of like a knuckleball to some degree. But watch Jessica here. Right? Oh, she got that one right. That's a good place for that. I mean, that's a quality 214 game.
It's a solid game.
202
Which
Now,
probably puts her.
I don't know how much money you're making in brackets, but in regards to the ultimate goal of advancing to tomorrow, that is going to take you there. Let's see, Noon. Jessica opened with 165, so she follows with 214. That's solid.
She's well into a possibility of making that mix right now. I think after 2, that probably puts her in the top 15, potentially.
Cortez goes over to 1 and 2. Coming back, just talking about doing that motion that we all do when we either it doesn't do what we like it to do off our hand, we miss it at the bottom. He's been doing that a lot. So I don't know if it's getting off his hand properly or as clean as he would prefer at the moment.
He said he punched that ball 5 years ago, and he found it. So I don't know if it actually like 100% is in his full comfort zone of how the feel would normally be if he had an opportunity to kind of plug, re-drill, or whatever he wanted to do with it, grip changes,
That's
etc.
fair. That could have been some of those things that have taken place in the last 5 years for sure. We move into game 3. Christine Johnston. Nate Kiesick, he bowled a 12 o'clock yesterday. Taylor Esping, he too bowled the noon squad yesterday. Mackenzie Page joining us also on 7 and 8. Got three women bowling this squad. We had 2 earlier. Derek Acuff is inching closer. He's in camera range. He's on 9 and 10. He was talking about and was very much looking forward to bowling on this pattern. And the left didn't look too bad from the start again on this squad. There might be more lefties, I mentioned this earlier, than any other squad to this point. Because I've counted Acuff, Ken Thurman, who's also on that pair, 9 and 10 at the moment. Calvin Hugger is left-handed. I thought there's at least a 4th.
I can't think of.
I'll find that person in a minute. We'll see how that plays out, if at all. Ben Canfield has joined us here. Ben, you not bowling either? Either of your players bowling, Ben? Come on. Got to get GCU out here representing. Oh, there's one Hunter Mace.
Yep. Fair. No Chris today? No Chris Mays today?
He bowled yesterday.
Oh, did he?
He bowled at noon. Not to say that he won't be here at 5. But he did bowl at noon yesterday. Speaking of that, let's take a look at the just kind of the overall through this morning's squad. And like if we were to take the next 6, which DJ Kneifel would be leading that, then you'd have Ryan Howard at -7, Charlie Price at -24, Chad Lucci at -24, waiting on the world to change, John Mayer at -33, and then Troy Blickenstaff and Steve Matthews actually tied at -54. Those would be the next 6 scores. If you think about, again, the 6 overall who don't get autos. So I'm thinking a couple of those, like -7 looks real good right now.
That is going to be close, in my guess, as the number. just because of the fact that you're still bringing in, you know, the squad and the following. I don't think it's going to take plus. I just don't know how deep backwards it's going to get that last 6 spots.
Yeah, Troy bowled twice. He actually bowled. It's weird, right? He shot minus 54, and I think this is when he bowled yesterday at noon. But he had a much better start today. I actually thought he bowled better overall today than he did yesterday, but he scored 8 pins lower today. That's bowling. Kyler Adams is checking in. Hello to you. Well, that's fair, Ben. I always forget it's the summer. That's not your excuse, though, Ben. It's just for your players.
Kyler, feel better, man. Sorry to hear that.
Oh, that's not fun. Yeah, take care of yourself. Bob Wiley. Well, he's in contention every time I'm here. Oh, I'd be curious if that's a UC3 in his hand. It does have a rotor grip label.
Your eyesight is so much better than mine.
Yeah, and it's going away too. Knock on wood. I keep telling my son, anytime I mention eyesight, and let me preface by saying it's very difficult for this particular child to eat anything. Okay, or at least something that we would like him to eat. Okay. And so anytime I mention eyesight, I'm like, yep, I just got to eat more carrots. So my eyes will stay as strong as they are. And he just looks at me and goes, I don't like carrots, Dad. I know. But the point is, your eyesight will be fantastic if you just try it.
Does it work?
No. Absolutely not. The younger one, yes, it does to some degree. He's much more willing. I think that might be a Hustle Charcoal if it's not a UC3. It's one of the two, though. Hello, Gus. Jordan in chat. Hello to Jordan.
ECGT's a little comment here.
That's for you.
He made it. So I don't know what he's saying.
I can respect his grind to the degree of, and he grinded. I know his scores may not suggest that he did because he got to 75 or 73 over.
So let's talk about GT's road to the top 4
Sure.
yesterday. I didn't get a chance to see it all, but I heard on my drive up here this morning as I was listening to the stream while driving up here. This is how versatile GT is for anybody that wants to go back and watch last night's squad, or noon squad, I should say. Right-handed, single-handed bowler. Bowled right-handed standard, and also threw backup ball on the left side for at least a total of one, if not more games than that, completely.
One game.
One whole game.
One game he did it.
Back up. And what did he score?
246.
There you go. So to hear Greg complain about...
Well, he's not wrong.
Well,
they are hard.
Well, it is hard. But that's what we're all known for. Theo does not put for quote-unquote China shots out there, and neither do I. If bowling for 10K, I'd rather see you earn it than to carry the best.
I think he's really asking for just like one extra board. Just one board.
Well, that would be...
Not two.
Well, it's such a hard... it's such a hard thing to do. You know, when creating these patterns for these events, there's a lot of work that goes into trying to make it hard but fair. And at the end of the day, it's for us, it's really our best guess.
Well, I'll be honest. I looked at the graph and thought, okay, there's enough shape. You know, there might be something a little bit more playable out.
Right.
It's 38 feet. But it's in that, like I like to call that medium range. And, you know, that range is always tricky from what I've seen recently. Like 37, 38, 39-foot patterns seem to be the trickiest.
Right.
Because I think some want to play like a short pattern, which more or less you should be able to, but then that's where volume comes into play. And then obviously the actual house characteristics, age of the panels, all those things start to really come to mind. Yeah, but what GT did yesterday, and I think it was more the explanation of why he did it that really got me. As Cortez Shank, by the way, 4-bagger on 1 and 2. We'll take you to his finish here in a moment. Theo should be just about done with scores for this round as well. And it looks like he is. I'll get to those in just 1 second. But so Greg goes 201, 214, 200. All right, and I've been talking about managing the fresh. That's about as perfect as you can have it. I actually thought he was going to kind of destroy him from out because his look was really good through about 4 or 5 frames, and then it kind of got iffy for him. Then he shoots 140 before getting a 7 and 8. All right. The game that he was shooting 140, Troy Blickenstaff was on 7 and 8. Troy, two-handed righty, threw backup at a 3-9 and made it, and then Troy remained playing the backup line for the rest of that game. GT watches that and says, all right, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to come over here and try it. He shoots 246. One-handed, as you said, one-handed backup with a purple hammer. Then he goes to, it was 3 and 4. Yeah, they skipped a pair yesterday. He went to 3 and 4. Kyle Ponzo had shot 270 on this pair. Also throwing urethane. They don't throw it the same, but got enough of a read to understand. He then goes over there, goes back to traditional one-handed righty, shoots 240.
And makes the cut.
Yes, that wasn't his last game, but effectively
puts him into the number.
Those 2 games, and then he went down on the high end, shot 222 to close it out. Got him in.
But that's my point. The versatility that GT has is phenomenal. And that's kudos to him. That's why I'm telling him to just bowl. Because no matter what I put out there, you'll find a way. He's just that good.
So is Cortez Shank.
Absolutely. 100%. Tez was a finalist in year 1 of my top 4.
That's right. He did make the show.
He did. He made my finals. Hey, Robert is in the chat. See, Robert likes to give me a hard time about the pattern as well.
Which Robert is?
Robert Smith.
Oh, what's up, Robert Smith?
That guy. I think he's supposed to be going to Cabo today. I don't know why he's on a. Nothing wrong with being on Bowl Stream, obviously, but
Yeah, he should be.
But he's
Absolutely.
going to Cabo if he's not in Cabo right now as we speak.
Well, I hope he is. I was there in January and had a phenomenal time.
Humidity in January versus now in Cabo is going to be a little bit different for him.
It's okay.
But you're still in Cabo.
I would take the Cabo part.
Yep.
Is what's most important. Cortez. He's got that ability, man, to just start making stuff look easy. He's so naturally gifted. And I know he works hard. I don't want people to misconstrue what I'm saying. But as someone who watches bowling for a living, what he does and how he does it, he makes it look as effortless
as possible
as it can be.
Yep. 100% agree.
Like you look up and all of a sudden, oh, there goes Cortez.
It's not surprising that he went 250. That's the thing. As surprising it is for the pattern, he makes it look like league at times.
So he's gone 210, 215. Shot there from Bob. 210, 215, now 256 for Cortez Shank. And might be one of those situations where he could run away and hide as the leader of this squad.
He could just be on cruise control to a point.
He's already at plus 81. Sean Wood, 198, 213. Keep an eye on Sean. He's on 3 and 4, stepping up bottom right of your screen. Sean Nosbush, plus 9. Same score as Dwight Burns after a couple. Calvin Hugger, minus 7. Caden Ament, minus 8. Nate Kiesick, 214, 167. And now he's got an opportunity to get back into the two teens. Christine Johnson also on this pair right now, minus 20. And Jessica Noshbush gets back into contention here early at minus 21 after the 214 game that we talked about.
Husband and wife in the top 10 after 2.
That's pretty cool. I'll take that.
Makes for an easier drive home, when you're both doing well.
Got that right. Cortez is they're skipping 2 pair here during this squad, so he was going to 1 and 2, which means he's going back to 15, or is to 15 and 16. Excuse me, not going back to it. He's going to 15 and 16. These players will get a couple of laps.
They're getting exercise right now.
Around the ballpark today in the squad. A few more steps in. $179, I cannot think of that gentleman's name, but I've seen him multiple times.
Jeremy McElliott.
Thank you.
Just want to make sure I knew who you were talking
Yes,
about.
yes, Jeremy.
He bowls a lot of regionals.
Let's look at Hunter. He already had the first one in the 10th. So he did what he needed to do. He'll be in the two teens. Keep it here for Sean Wood, who was at a good start. Tough game here, though. Couple of splits. D-Ron Booker had a couple of splits, so maybe 3 and 4 might be one to kind of keep an eye on. Urethane-ish. Bang.
High flush. Great shot.
Oh, nicely done. Every pin counts. I say that not being facetious at all, because Matt Zweig shot 255 earlier, about game 6, I think it was, game 5 maybe. Get himself not only back to plus, but challenging for the lead, and then he did take the lead in game 6 from Michael Fitzgerald at the time. And Zweig had about 80 in the sixth. So he ends up, his max was 190. He leaves a washout. He has to make it. I don't know if he knew this at the time, but he had to make it to keep the first round bye. 2 there. 7-2 would have put him at plus 13. Andrew Kane was plus 14. Kane would have gotten the bye if he doesn't make the washout there. So a very roller coaster-ish day of emotions there for Zweig, who put in all the work, to get himself in the bye scenario, and almost gave it back. He would have been in the top 4.
Right.
But you'd love to have a bye if you can get it.
Absolutely. Do you know if Theo's having them bowl even though they have the bye? Do we know that? Or they can just sit back and watch, or do they have the option? Do you know?
When you say bowl,
because they have the bye, so are they pacing along, or are they literally just on the sidelines?
There will be some warm-up lanes.
Right.
For those
I just wasn't sure if they're pacing along at all.
Well, Bob was looking pretty okay early on, but it's hard to get away from the split situation on this pattern. And that is one other thing that can be very difficult. So we move to game number 4. I will say this, the pace of squads has been relatively consistent. And from a live streamer's perspective, you'll never hear me complain about that. So with that said, we've got a little bit of action on 1 and 2. There's actually nothing right now on 9 and 10, 11 and 12. Same thing from 3 to 8. Everyone is making sure that they're on the right pair after having to skip 2 pairs as opposed to just 1. Looks like we'll have Mike Jones. Thanks to Al in Sun City West. You probably got a little bit of that conversation. Al watches a lot of PWBA and PBA, and PBA 50 for that matter, on Bowl TV, which is where I'm often calling bowling when I'm not on my own platform. Nice to see Al. You know, it's funny when you see names in the chat, and some like Al in Sun City. And you go, I wonder if Al is actually from Sun City. Yes, he is. He came up to say hello, wish me a happy birthday. For all of you who do watch Bowl TV, you'll appreciate what Al just said. He's got on an original, like an OG Bowl TV T-shirt giveaway item from like 2019. He said he's got 2 T-shirts, an autographed program, But you know what he said? I still haven't figured out a way to win a bowling ball. I can't tell you how many people talk to me about still not winning a bowling ball. All right, Michael Arcee. He made a couple other splits this morning, too, that were pretty good. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to Bowlstream TV. I appreciate the subscriber base. It is going up. The goal is 10K. Love to get there by the end of the year. Got a few more events potentially on the schedule. Some waiting to dot the I's and cross the T's. We'll definitely have the Agent on the network. Looking forward to that action match, too. Matt Jones will be featured along with Kyle Troop this year. That should be fun. Oh, look out. Look out. That one was right from the get-go there off the right hand of Michael. Went out to Dallas to stream the Texas Ironman tournament Memorial Day weekend. That was actually a really cool event. Pretty cool for a one day. A lot of bowling. 16-game marathon.
That's a long run.
It actually went by quicker than I thought it would be.
With all the crosses and everything, it didn't take
Yeah, it didn't. It helps Plano's a relatively
large
center. But they didn't use every lane, from that perspective. But but the pace was good. Kind of like this. I was just talking about the pace. It's been really consistent, squad to squad, which is always great. Helps with breaks, especially when you got a long day.
Sure.
Wink,
Yeah,
wink,
three to
wink,
a pair.
wink, wink.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Wink, wink.
Yeah, yes, I do know and I do acknowledge that you do grind out for my tournament in
Wink,
October.
wink.
I do appreciate all the hard work that you put in October.
Everybody's in the same boat from the staff perspective. So
Yeah, I think Theo and I are here just as long as you are that day.
absolutely,
So
we all share in the grind together in that sense, and that's why tournament directors. And at some point, I am going to be a tournament director. I've been thinking about it for too long, so at some point, I'll figure out, how to do it, what to do, when to do it, as far as hosting a tournament, and maybe you'll have some longevity like these events. But the relationship with tournament directors, the players, and then of course in my case the live stream aspect of it, it all really does work together.
the collaboration
It's important.
It actually just falls into place, and it really does, because the players appreciate what you do, and I believe that the players like the fact that we are able to host larger type events with
Sure.
with a very strong prize fund. I think when you mix those in, and like I said, you give us the platform for the nation to show that there's tournaments here in the Southwest, and that you should come out and consider traveling out to bowl if you are a traveling bowler that likes competition, not just in your local area. So because of opportunities that you give us to team up with you to showcase other tournaments across the nation, there is a place to have this. So I think if you were to ever consider hosting your own event, I think there wouldn't be a better fit, just because of how you get to know all these players and all these other tournament directors across the nation. It's a natural segue for you. And I think if and when you do decide to do it, I think it's going to be super successful.
Yeah, I've got this big dream of, I think, well, maybe everyone doesn't have it, the dream of the $1 million tournament. I've heard that been floating around for many years. Now that's the big dream. I think we all would want to do that.
I would love
I'm not sure there's a tournament director in the world who wouldn't want to pay $1 million to somebody.
But, you would need a whole lot of financial support.
an insurance policy. But I'd love to be able to give out a 10K and specifically just bring it to the Midwest, specifically Chicago. I would love to bring people back to Chicago. There was some really good tournament. There still are. There's a ton of them, actually. There's not even 10K-like events. There's some 5Ks, which I appreciate. But, yeah, I think a 10K would play well. Easy to get to, generally speaking, travel-wise. Got to be worth it, right? Folks' time if they're making the trip out. So those are things to keep in mind.
I think it also depends on time of year.
Not the winter.
Right, and that's the tough part. And then, like, I think when you take the travel into account, you got to consider time of year, obviously.
January sounds great for 10K in Chicago.
Well, I wish you the best of luck from Phoenix.
No one will.
I will be
the opposite.
I will be watching, at home and rooting you on.
The opposite of me getting off the plane to 117, where folks will get off the plane to minus 17.
Oh, I don't. I did tell you that story when I went to that Green Bay Niners game in the playoffs one year, right? Yeah, never again, sir.
How cold was it?
It was with the wind chill, like -20. I'm from Phoenix, born and raised. I've traveled to some cold, but I run inside. I don't purposely sit outside for 5 hours. So I will tell you that once in a lifetime, and I'll never do that again. I don't care if the Super Bowl's there and we're playing it. I don't know. I won't do it.
I was just about to say.
I can't do it. I legit thought I was going to lose limbs. I was so cold. And
frostbite is a real thing.
And people tell you how to dress. I read up on everything. I researched everything online. Crap, I think I chat GPT'd it how to try to stay warm. Yeah, never again. I'm too thin-blooded to do that. So if you were to host an event in anything that has a minus in front of it, I will be rooting for you from I promise. My wife was laughing at me because she's seeing, I was calling her and taking photos.
Oh, she wasn't there.
And she was at home in shorts here in Phoenix.
Probably at the pool.
Yeah, just hanging out. Like, you're an idiot. It was her response. So, hey.
We see Acuff back in this zone. She's on 7 and 8, but there is a front 5. How about that? Calvin Hugger comes back in this zone too. He started on 7 and 8, where he shot 230. He had the front 6, I think it was, or 7, and then he moves over to 9 and 10. He's got the front 5.
He shot 160 and was still in 5th because of that monster 233 game 1, and now he's going to try to unbury and try to go back to being way north of that 0 line.
Taylor Esping, I think John Verbal was in the chat yesterday. John runs the TAT Desert Southwest events. He told us that Taylor had a nice event, taking home a little bit of a nice little 4-figure check with a 2 in front of it. And Taylor now on 1 and 2 has spare 5-bagger to start. You can see Hugger on the right of your screen. He's on lane 9, so he leaves a 6-pin. Decent starts for everybody over there. Dan Quilt had a good start going. He's got 1 in the channel. Nice. Big spare. I've seen more gutters during this squad, and I feel like that's a byproduct to some degree of
memory.
That in the first 2 squads, though. Meaning players have said, okay, I've watched 2 squads, or I bowled already. I'm going to play here because I feel like I can make this work. And not saying make it work like a detriment, but they generally feel like
that's a place they can play.
This is where I'm going to play.
There, right?
And I think more players have just committed to Nice washout conversion. Playing out this squad.
I'm just curious, though. Is the shot there, or is it a false sense?
There's some tease-like elements there because there's nothing really consistent. You can get it there early, and yesterday we saw a lot of people go through the nose. If you try to adjust off that, then your ball doesn't
Three
do
off
anything.
the right.
Right.
Or in the channel.
Yep. Or if you try to get truly square to the gutter, which I haven't seen a lot of people do, but like Corrine, right? She wasn't near the gutter, but if you just leak it right and you feel like you got a little bit of room down lane right, you don't. Now there were two players, I think Michael RC, and there was someone else who figured out a way. Troy Blickenstaff actually did it perfectly. Like he was somehow able to shape the gutter with urethane. Especially this morning on the fresh. But he shot a like 4 or 5 180s.
Right.
Unfortunately, after that, it was just a frame here, frame there. He had a gutter in there, gutter spare. Like it's like all of a sudden those little pins add up. As we all know. I mean, his look to me was the best out there. Let's take a look at these scores after 3 games. Again, click the link. I might do our poll again on the ranges of cut numbers today. I think I started at plus 50 to plus 69, and I had 70 or more. I might lower them just because we know 70 or more is not going to be the number.
That's not a number, sir. You have a better chance hitting the lottery.
Not happening today.
That one.
I think I had plus 20 to plus 49. And I think I had minus 10 to plus 19. And most people earlier said that 50 to 69 was the longer the poll went. We had a good chunk said minus 20 to plus 49, which seemed like a good answer, but ultimately it was the minus 10 to plus 19.
If you were to run that poll again, I think it's going to be lower.
Not as low as we can feel watching Mike Jones stuff an 8-pin there. And that's the one, right? Where is Mike in the standings? Okay, so 200, 157.
150.
150.
He's minus 93 right now.
He's got a chance to shoot 2-teen.
Right.
Bones an 8-pin.
Correct. And that's why that number will poop down. Because you can peer it. The bowling god's not necessarily going to knock him down. So,
Ryan Howard boned 1-2 on this same pair this morning. He shot there for Kyle. I like his game. He's got a few opens to try to cover up here. Another washout and another conversion. I learned that Michael RC is still new to bowling.
a little over a year.
Which is really impressive.
He's phenomenal at the amount of growth that he's had since he started bowling. He's just dedicated, and I pretty much bowls every day. And that's one thing I can say about him. Once he's committed to something, he's all in. And, you know, a testament to him and his grind. You know, he just works at it, and he wants to get better, and he does get better. You know, he's making a name for himself in the bowling community, especially out here. Just his work ethic in regards to what he does for the sport. He's really dedicated, so hats off to him on that.
He's shown flashes. He's shown some flashes. You know, yesterday he struggled playing in, moves out to the gutter, has a little bit more success. He's out there grinding this morning. I mean, he's bowled. This is his third time bowling.
No, for sure. And he won one of my sweepers last year.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Dan Q, right, spare made. He's going to be in the 170s. We Got Kyle Gilbert on the string. We've got Calvin Hugger still next door. Trying to strike coming up here in the 9th frame. Let's take a look at Calvin. Every time I say Calvin, I just think of the Dave Chappelle show back in the day. Calvin, who worked at Whack Arnold's. I don't know what the difference is, but he likes 7 and 8, 9 and 10. It's no doubt about it. Pickleball, every game may be on 7 and 8 or 9 and 10.
Can you see what Tez is at right now?
Let's see, Cortez.
Might be a little too far out of range.
Trying to see what lane. I thought he was on 15 and 16, but I didn't see a score pop up. Unless it did, and it might be he might be in the 10th frame. Yeah, it looks like he's a spare away from maybe being in the 180s.
Okay.
That's what it looks like. I think spare strike gets him to 189 or 190. And Corrine Acuff has left more 7-10s today than maybe any other player, to be quite honest with you. Well, Kyle's going to be at 192 with a strike, and you know, that's a game, of course, make some makeables, you're in there. Uh-oh. The hubby, Derek Acuff, next door on 3 and 4, bottom right there. Let's see what maybe a fill shot looks for Derek. Acuff shoots Corrine, that is, 159. One strike there, and again, another pocket 7-10. Here's Gilbert. All right, he tried something on the field at 6. Acuff sending logs that don't connect. 195. Robert Smith doing some note-taking on tournamentbowl.com. He says there's 16 200s and 90 games bowled so far in this pattern. That's across, this is the 3rd squad that has now been on the lanes. And we're not even done yet.
Robert's our unofficial statistician.
Well, we need statisticians.
I wonder if he's at the airport just killing time. He's waiting to get on his flight, because not understanding.
I mean, I could see myself doing this. My wife actually asks me this a lot. Even when I take a week off, like from tour, I'll probably still watch, which I did. Like I watched Corrine. And I watched for multiple reasons. One, I'm a fan of bowling. Still, at the end of the day,
right?
No matter how much I watch the bowling, every week almost of my life, I'm still a fan of it. And so, but it's rare that I get to watch it just as a fan and not as
commentator,
a producer, or
working,
you know, commentating, etc. But yeah, I could see him doing that. Oh no! Oh no! Oh, Calvin. 235. Not to put Calvin's business in the street, but I saw him. When I was leaving Fry's across the street there, the grocery store. And he said, "What's up?" And I didn't know who he was. And then I stopped, looked at him again. I said, "You about to go bowl a tournament, aren't you?" And he said, "Yeah, I bowled last year." We chatted. And he told me he had just got off the golf course. I said, "How you about to play golf and then go bowl?" He said it's relaxing for him. So playing golf early allows him to just kind of relax and settle in to the bowling part, which made it sound like if he did the reverse.
Right.
If he bowled first, he would not then go enjoy his 18 round. I don't know how many holes he played, but his 18 holes of golf.
Nothing about golf in June, July in Phoenix sounds fun.
Well, he went at the right time.
There's no right time.
This morning would have been perfect.
Today, maybe. But just in general?
Truly.
I mean, you'd have to be night golfing like at midnight for me to want to be out there.
I talked to some of the community members here who were here just practicing. Some were pre-bowling for league. And someone told me they asked about the tournament as we watched Jessica here. Jessica's a sleeper on this squad because she's keeping it in play. And that's what you need to do on this. So strike to get her to 198. So I asked, are you bowling the tournament tomorrow? I said, I knew they weren't bowling, but just to make some conversation.
Sure.
And he goes, no, I'll be playing golf in the morning. And then that got me to thinking, what are the peak times? And I'm assuming peak times would be 6 a.m., maybe to 8 to 9, certainly depending on the temperature of that day. But I can't imagine that the courses are pretty crowded when it's 1, 2 p.m.
I don't think you want to tee off at 2 o'clock in the afternoon in July here. But we are a golf destination, right?
Oh, no doubt.
So, I mean, I don't even know how many players call me prior to, my event in October of saying, can you set us up with rounds? What's some golf courses to go to? What are your squad times? I want to sneak in around. So, yeah. And just so you know, Lowry is a golf pro.
Yeah, so he was watching Bowl TV recently, and he popped in, and he mentioned Whirlwind.
Yep.
And Jason, I'm like,
that's where I take Robert when he comes out for.
Is that Jason? Like the Jason that I know from. And of course, when I saw him yesterday, he had on his Whirlwind hat.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. How many? I'd have to imagine that'd be 1 or 2 other golf pros, or at least those who maybe they've got some high level experience in regards to the game, the sport of golf.
That
also bowl.
The bowl?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
I got to think there's a couple more, right?
I mean, just in general, Pete Weber's a scratch golfer.
Is he?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Robert is a great golfer. Justin Sims is a solid golfer too.
I know EJ is.
Yep, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm probably one of the only bowlers that I can't golf at all. Like, I literally go out with those guys and just drive the cart. You don't want me to swing. I will be wasting your time. I will be dragging that round super long for you all. So I will just drive the cart and hang out and just laugh at you guys instead. Not a golfer.
We are waiting for bowling to happen from somewhere between lanes 1 through 12. 13 and 14 are finishing up. That group is actually, or 2 of those players are going to go to 7 and 8. Dwight Burns just finished up. He shoots 203. And someone has 210 max. It looks like Caden Ament can shoot 210 with all 3 in the 10th. Kyle Michalowski off and running on 9 and 10 as we've reached game 5. In the booth with you, Emil Williams Jr., Carl Ong, creator of the Agent Ong Open, headed into year 3. Carl, for those who may be joining us late, can you give us a little bit of a breakdown on what to expect for this year's tournament? And then as they peruse the standings and they see the AOO, we know that stands for Agent Ong Open, but how that ties into the Cactus Classic.
So for a full explanation on the AOO, as you look at Tournament Bowl and you follow the standings throughout this weekend, the initials are for us to keep track of the winner spots. So if you're coming out to bowl the last squad, there is an opportunity to, as a side pot incentive, is to bowl a winner spot, which gives you the opportunity of a beat the board. It's $30. It's 1 and 9, and we tally all the people that sign up for all 4 squads, and we take a 1 and 9, and you get an entry into the Agent Ong Open in October out here in Kyrene Lanes. October 16th through the 19th, with a guaranteed 10K on top. Multiple squads, starts Thursday, culminates Sunday. 2 squads on Thursday, 2 squads on Friday, as well as 3 squads on Saturday, plus a Desperado, which alludes you to the long days that you are looking forward to come October.
Okay.
And then we also have sweepers Thursday and Friday night. 2 sweepers each, guaranteed $1,000 for each sweeper, regardless of entries, at $100 per entry for the sweeper. We have early birds for Thursday. It's only $225 for your standard main event entry, and $175 re-entries. And new this year, not new to the tournament, but the new action match this year will be Matt Jones, the current winner of the TAT back in Super Bowl weekend.
It was February.
It was February, yep. Against PBA champion Kyle Troop.
Should be fun. Been watching a lot of the promotional items for the tournament. A lot of videos from players who've bowled it or who will be bowling.
Yep. Anthony Simo and Darren Tang and Kyle Troop have been amazing at helping promote the event. They're all previous bowlers. It'll be his first time this October bowling the event. And then we just have a lot of returning players, and it's been growing year over year. And we're looking forward to our trilogy, our 3rd annual.
The trilogy sounds very Star Wars-ish.
The last
Are you a
couple.
Star Wars fan?
No, that's the funny thing. I mean, I obviously recognize it and know it. My wife is a Star Wars fan,
Okay.
but we had the Strikes Back last year. We had a
That's
trilogy
right.
this
Yeah,
year.
you're on the theme.
We're trying to come up with number 4s for next year, so we'll have to come up with a.
Well, technically, that episode is A New Hope. So just to give you a head start.
Okay. I'll put that in the.
Yeah, technically,
list.
that episode is called A New Hope.
Which
Although
is
it was
technically number 1.
it is the first one
One
was
that ever
released.
released. Yes.
I shouldn't even say technically because I'm not a Star Wars guru. So I don't want to offend any Star Wars group because there are a lot in the world.
Based on movie releases, that was number 1. So that is a fact.
Uh-oh.
So
Well, we got an early 3-bagger. David Black says the ham bone.
I can't take that.
That one's partially trademarked.
Yeah, I can't take that. I don't need that headache down the road.
Again, C Squad is on the lanes, folks. We got a couple more games left. We will, haven't seen Theo make his walk. That doesn't mean the scores haven't already been in.
Nope, just checked.
I'm interested in players like Dwight Burns, certainly Jessica Nosbush. They were in front of us, and now we just got to stay away from these trouble items here. So difficult. I was curious if you were with us when we started this squad. I was wondering how this pair, 5 and 6 particularly, would end up shaping up because there was a decent amount of surface going down. Chris Sanders had a lot of surface, even though Corrine only threw a few shots with 360 urethane during practice. Nicely done. Well, if you just make them like that all the time, she's going to be great. But I was curious how the surface might impact this pair. And it does look like there's certain spots that are more or less like landmines, and they can be difficult to see. take a look at that spare after Jericho. That's good. And then just nicely done.
Stay clean like that. Zach had the front four, and unfortunately had a washout, so where is Zach?
Got a front four down on 9 and 10 also.
Is that Tez?
Probably. It would make sense. It would be on brand.
If I was the guess.
It would be on brand based on how this squad is going.
No offense to anybody else on the pair, but if I was the guess who has front four, I'm going to just assume it might be Tez.
Now, Carl, when I first met you, you told me that you didn't bowl or had not bowled in several years, I think it was at that point. But recently you got back on the lanes, right? You even bowl league now.
Yes.
Or did.
Yep.
How'd that go?
Good until February. I tore my MCL. Bowling the Tat. I haven't bowled a tournament. I haven't bowled like a megabuck / tournament in probably 15 years, and I decided to go out to the Tat with a bunch of boys, and Ben Perry and Aaron Yamamoto were my travel buddies to that tournament, and decided to bowl a sweeper to start before my main event. I bowled a sweeper out there and actually started well. I think a double, spare double. And then when
you
he
bowled one
came
game?
up, I only bowled like 6 frames.
Wow.
And I had to withdraw. I couldn't put any more weight on it.
Six frames. That's wild, man. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yep, that's it. 6 frames. But no, had a good time. We ended up taking, I think, 3rd in the league. But I have a really good team. Like, so I'm the worst on my team. This year we had Matt Jones, Wyatt Trzowski, Ben Perry, Robbie Patterson, Chad Lucy. We got a mix of 8 of us that rotated in and out. Havel Wright. Yeah, so we had a really, really stacked team, and we did well. We did well.
I thought, this Chad's not local, though, right?
Yeah, he
He
lives
is?
here. He lives in Gilbert, yep. And Aaron Yamamoto was also on our team.
I didn't know that.
So,
By the way, that front situation on 9 and 10 is not Cortez, but he did go double 9 spare double.
so it's Sean? Oh, it's Kyle McCloskey. That
there we
has the
go.
front 6.
Let's take a look at Kyle. He roomed with D-Ron and I think Chris Kelso a lot this year on tour.
Wow.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
I think he has something.
Well, it could be the score that he needs here. Again, not a ton of these. I mean, I'm sure outside of Calvin Hugger, I mean, this is just the second front seven. Although it is the second one of this squad, though.
I mean, he is in 12th currently.
This is given. This is about the time that Matt Zweig shot 250. And on cue, then, of course, Cortez with the 2-4-10. Theo is currently grabbing scores. See if Sean Wood will still be in the mix. Oof, gave it a run. Some appearance there from Mr. Kurt off camera, taking care of that dead wood from the back of the machines here in Lakeview Lanes. Thanks to Mike Dermeyer, Reed Gibbs, and their entire staff and crew. Thanks to the people at George's Cafe who are helping keep the staff and the bowlers fed with their delicious food. Kyle. All right, through the nose there.
At least he left it makeable.
Very curious what the high end is like.
Oh, no.
So Kyle missed that, as you can see there on lane 10. He missed the 610. 264 still left. I mean, at the very least, right? This is one you got to get to 240. Got to get to 240 here.
Scores are updated through 4.
All right, who we got? Who's the?
We have Cortez Shank at plus 55, Dwight Burns at plus 15. Sean Wood is now in third at 0. Caden Ahmet at minus 9 for 4. Calvin Hugger at minus 10. Hunter Mays at minus 18. 7th, Jessica Nosbush at minus 45. Number 8, Christine Johnston at minus 48. Kyle McClowski at minus 56. And Zach Van Dusen at minus 72 for your top 10. So Cortez and Dwight after 4 are the only 2 bowlers at plus.
Jessica's in that weird spot to where she's either got to find a different ball, right? That's just not going to see it in the same spot, but you can't necessarily. You can try to go to something cleaner, but then you're at risk of, you know, more splits because it'll be a little bit stronger, of course, down lane. Because she's really in the perfect spot, and she doesn't want to get into trouble. But this pair. And it couldn't just be this pair. She's going to go down to the high end here in a moment. Because at minus 45, you didn't want to give too many more away with 2 games left. But that's what's on the way here. Talk about an up and down situation for Calvin Hugger. 230, 160, 160, 230.
Yeah.
That is max and minimum right there.
Feast or famine.
Kyle made the 5-pin over there, so again, he doesn't want to give away 240. These are a prime position to get himself. I mean, he could get to -2 if he really wants to. He'd need all 3 in the 10th to get there. He'd be at -2 with 2 games left. Tess Shank has made it a little bit more interesting, of course, with the 174. But I told you, Dwight Burns, model of consistency. He's bowling right next to Cortez. Speaking of Cortez, who almost left pocket 7-10, that's been obviously not the best leave, not the kind leave.
Well, after this game, I'm going to step out. And Theo told me that Mr. Michael Fitzgerald will be joining you, I guess, at games 6 and 7.
The Fitz. Well, he gave the lanes the Fitz. I'll tell you that. That dude was, I think I've seen him bowl bad once.
He's very consistent.
Ever.
Yeah, he's very consistent.
Ever. And I think he was even surprised. It was one of, I don't know if it was last year, maybe a couple, but he just didn't have a good squad. And yeah, he came back later, did what he had to do, but it's so rare, man, to have that. It's been fun to get to watch him bowl and improve. Great shot. I'm all in on Jessica here. We got to get her to the show. Our good buddy John Mayer helping out Jess. Of course, her husband is bowling, and so he has been trying to help her with as a rep, if you will. Got a little bit of work to do, but we got to get her there.
She bowls some of my local stuff as well, and her and her husband, phenomenal. Phenomenal bowlers. Sean, I've only held 3 eliminators here. He's won 2 of them. So
it is Sean. That is how you pronounce it.
Yes.
Okay.
Unless he's never corrected me.
Well, I'm only asking that just in case, but because it's spelled S-H-A-N.
Yep.
In the standings, so I wanted to make sure. That's true, Chad. Yeah, I should preface or be specific when I'm referencing Fitzgerald to say not including programs.
On China, on house, from what I hear. Yes, and I heard Zweig had a hard time with that as well yesterday.
I don't know about House China 1 and 2. Not last night. House shots are always interesting to me, just in general, because you go to the various parts of the country. Some house shots are at 10. Some of them are at 4th arrow, meaning like people are playing 4th arrow.
Sure, to get there. Yeah.
So people are playing 10, 20 to 10, which would be maybe normal.
So quick story. The late great Tony Reyes. We were really close, and when you say league bowling, it's funny that you bring this up. A house shot, because he was here and he had won a regional in Lake Havasu.
Okay.
We come back Sunday night and I bowl league and I had him sub on my team. He just won, so I'm firing both of us at brackets because he's going to sub that night. I'm like, okay, you just won the regional, we're going to fire. I shoot 790. He didn't break 600. I was just looking at him. I'm like, explain this to me. I just bowled the regional. I didn't even sniff a cut. You won it. I come back. I think we're gonna crowbar brackets. I go 790 and you shoot like 550. I'm like, I I've come to realize that maybe they're so good they overthink it. A house shot because they're trying to find something that's because they're so used to hitting,
Oh yeah.
splitting
No doubt.
boards, right? That I think if you give them too much, it gets hard.
Well,
I don't know. I could be completely wrong in that philosophy of it.
I
But-
think there's some element of truth to it, and I'm only going to speak solely not from a professional bowling perspective, but at my sharpest, when I was bowling college,
Uh-huh.
and I would like go home. Even at bowl league during college, it was difficult to
Transition the two different
adjust
mindsets,
because
right?
the what you're looking for, generally speaking, right, when you bowl in the tough stuff is not what you're looking for. You have to retrain yourself every time to basically throw it to the area, more or less. Like I'm just throwing
Versus
that out
trying
there.
to split
Yes.
boards, right?
Yes, and obviously as a great bowler, you would like to be able to have as much area as possible. But it's just, you do have to turn off a part of the brain and then turn another part back on. That's not true for everybody. But for those who do struggle on house shots, a lot of it is that. Like, and then they get clipped.
Yep.
Right, and that generally doesn't happen a ton, at the highest levels because they all break them down in a similar fashion most of
Sure.
the time. So they see a lot of this stuff that they just don't see.
Right, and I get it. So, Sam Cooley was a prime example. He took second in my tournament. He was still here. He ended up subbing, just for my Tuesday night team, just for a one-off. He throws backup ball. The whole, and shot like 750. I was like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, there's just certain players that, like Sam, that just has fun and throwing backup and can shoot 750 like without even blinking an eye. So,
Mr. Hugger, if he strikes again here, he's going to continue on this pattern, which has been 233, 160, 160, 235, and now he's actually going to shoot a game in the 150s. But if he turns those into 180s, he's firmly in at this point. But now he's still going to be in a situation. I tell you, Jessica's in it, Christine Johnston's in it, Hunter Mays is in it, Calvin Hugger's in it. Now Kyle Michalowski did shoot 240. So he might be taking the entry out of it for the last two games possibly. But even Matt Zweig, who ended up taking the lead with one game to go after coming from behind more or less and being in the negative numbers, made it a little bit interesting just with regard to the bye. All right, there it is. And there it is for Carl. Always a pleasure, Carl. Appreciate you hanging out and talking about, of course, your tournament and some of the winning spots that are going down here at the Cactus. And I know you got some things to do tomorrow, so we may not see you. But one more time on the date of your tournament and where can folks follow or register if they want to bowl?
Yeah, registration is now open. It's been open for a while. Entries are coming in weekly. October 16th through the 19th out here at Bolero Kyrene at Chandler, Arizona. You can follow us on Facebook at Agent Ong Open or go to agentongopen.com. You can learn all about the tournament. You can view the last 2 years and a bunch of videos out there. So definitely give us a follow and reach out to us if you guys have any questions. And again, thanks for having me. I look forward to seeing everybody in October. And Emil, thanks again for everything. I look forward to seeing you, especially in October.
I will be present. Appreciate you, Carl.
All right.
That is Carl Ong, ladies and gentlemen, of the Agent Ong Open, the trilogy. The trilogy. And with that, we will keep the party going here. For the final 2 games, we are joined by the Fitz. The Fitz is in, literally.
What's going on, guys?
How you been?
I've been well. How are you been, sir?
I'm doing okay. I watched you do work this morning.
Oh, work is definitely the word for it. They are not easy at all.
I watched you do a lot of work. So describe what you did compete on. As best as possible, because obviously the viewers have been watching this. You know, we've discussed it. Multiple people just, you know, talking about it, and it's not getting any easier. That's for sure.
No. So when if you've had a chance to look at this graph, and I kind of did to get an idea, and in my head I thought, hey, you know, hey, thanks, there it is, right there. I'm like, hey, this looks like, you know, probably to the right, far outside edge with like something that's just going to kind of roll. So a lot of urethane being in play. But it is super deceptive. It looks like to be pretty heavy volume overall, but it's only 27 mils. But it's relatively short, so you think, you know, things are going to fly. Well, they only fly when you're inside. Anything to the right, I don't know what's going on. Like the topography in this building, which in my opinion, I've bowled here before, the gutter's usually kind of hooked in this building, and it is not doing that at all today. I think it did a little bit in yesterday's squad. Looked like some people were playing, you know, having some success out there.
Bit,
but no, today absolutely not. And it's even more apparent right now, watching people throw big balls, urethane balls, whatever they wanted to try to do off the ditch, and it never moves. And you're lucky if it goes and takes out more than 3 pins at that point. So it was super deceptive, and it is pretty flat in the middle. So yes, when you do move inside and try to loop it, if you happen to miss just a little bit, you are going Brooklyn at best. And I ain't gonna lie, I went Brooklyn a lot today. A lot. But, you know, can't complain. It worked a little bit. got plenty of luck in the favor, and I get to go ahead and bowl again tomorrow. So it is what it is. But it is not an easy pattern by any means. So I was just talking to Theo about it, and we want to make them challenging, want to make them hard for these tournaments, you know, but at the same time, it's like this is like nationals bash your head and kind of hard at times. And, you know, there's a lot of talented bowlers in the area, but we're not professionals. We're not high-end guys that are just going to absolutely murder whatever we find at some point. You're crossing the lanes with people throwing all sorts of different balls, all different parts of the lane, and the transition is every lane, not even pair to pair, it's every lane, every game. And you have no idea what's going to happen when you get to the next pair when you bowl on.
All of that sounds like a headache.
It's what we sign up for, apparently.
There were a couple things, and you basically just touched it, you know, essentially, or described all of them. But I felt like, for the most part, the people who could manage the fresh would be okay. And then it gets a little strange in that first real, like, you know, big or true transition, game 4-ish, right? And it's weird because early, as you said, you couldn't play, like you couldn't get in the 4th arrow too early. Like that was just not a good idea.
Right, no, just too sharp off the back. Not enough carry down yet to smooth it out.
But then later in the block, you could, because the pattern's a bit more blended, and you can get your ball through the front part of the lane and going right, and have an idea of what's going to happen as it gets down lane. But then sometimes they don't correlate.
No, sometimes you hit a pair where the people before you, for like not just the game before you, but 2-3 games before you, decided to, you know, they were practicing with all the urethane. They were practicing with all these big balls right at that. And the amount of carry down in that track area from the right or from the left or your left hand, you know, is just, you know, like the ball looks like it's online. It looks like it's reading correctly. And then just does nothing at the back end whatsoever. And so you have to find that when that happens, you got to figure out what you're going to do. Do you want to get inside that track, that carry down, and then you run the risk of the ball overhooking completely away before it ever has a chance to get to the right of the head pin? Or do you want to get directly on top of it, take some hand out, and kind of roll it straight up? Do you ball change? I mean, there's so many factors that go into it, and there's no right answer on how to attack it. You just got to do it, what you can do, and pray you knock enough pins down.
I love how you're describing this.
Yeah. You guys looking at if you look at the scoreboard, it looks like I bowled well today. I bowled well one game. One game.
That's a great point, because I was just going to say, how did we get to plus 84?
I mean, I was very fortunate the first two games. Like the very first game, we got done with practice. I still had no idea what ball I was throwing yet. I had no idea where to throw it. I was lost at the moment still, trying to figure out what to do. And I got some breaks, managed to somehow shoot a 2-0, and I was ecstatic to move on and maybe go from there. And then I lucked out with another 2-0 game. I was trying to trap a ball kind of inside. Like I was throwing a sensor solid to start, and just very small ball with a big cover for the better part. So I was trying to get to read like in the mids and just go nowhere after that. So I was keeping it tight, trying not to overhook anything. And I went Brooklyn a lot on that second game for sure, and the third game, because the ball just wasn't getting down lane anywhere at that point. And then I happened to make a ball change in the end of that third game to see something just a little bit cleaner through the front, and something I didn't think I'd throw on this when you look at this pattern. And that was the real time. I moved down to 1 and 2. Generally speaking, I think lanes 1 and 2 hook a little bit more than the rest of the lanes, so I kind of moved a little bit further left.
Except last night.
Oh, last night was so Jesus. PTSD, buddy. PTSD. That's going to be a nightmare. For anyone that doesn't know, I'm sure it's already been blasted on this chat somewhere. We had the Pro-Am last night here, and it was on a house shot. It was no tap. Now, this is a building, last time I bowled league, I averaged 240 in for the league. Okay, so you would think, no tap, I'm just going to, this is going to be lights out, no problem. Guys, I shot a $162 game 1 of no tap. Yeah, you heard me right, 162. It was so bad, I had the next pair I was moving to ask for a different pro to bowl with. We did have a lot of fun, though. That's what really matters. But it was, yeah. So back to getting a little bit cleaner in this tournament. I made the turn, got down to 1 and 2, and I lucked out with this ball having the great ball motion on that pair. And that was the game I executed. So that was the one game out of all 7 that I felt like I absolutely bowled well. And the score showed and reflected, and I got breaks, the ball motion. Then I moved to the next pair, and that shot wasn't there again. Like, it's just, that's how drastic from pair to pair you go to is. I end up eventually having to move probably about 15 boards right, take my hand out of the ball a little bit, and just kind of shove it straight up the track area with where the carry down was at, and try to get out of that the last 2 games there to stay alive. So, and it worked. And then I finally got, last game, I jumped back left to see if it would back to where I was at in the game 4, and lo and behold, it was there again. So I was happy, and I was able to relax a lot better that last game and finish the squad. So, but right now, I don't know if anyone's really feeling too relaxed at the moment.
No, we got all our scores in too, and Dwight Burns is taking the lead at plus 59 over Cortez Shank. Shank at plus 55 in second. Again, the top 4 advance to match play tomorrow. The top 2 in each squad receive a first round bye. Sean Wood currently is 3rd, and Sean is on your screen right now on lane 6. He's plus 11, and Kyle Michalowski, who just shot 242, is now at minus 14. Church there for Sean. Minus 14 for Michalowski. He is currently bowling on lanes 3 and 4 with Cortez. And Nate Kiesick, Caden Ament is 5th at minus 33. Hunter May 6th at minus 48. Calvin Hugger 7th at minus 54. Zach Van Dusen at minus 56. That's 8th. Jessica Noss-Bush 9th at minus 81. Christine Johnson is 10th at minus 85. D-Ron Booker and Mike Jones tied at minus 111. It's going to struggle for just about everybody. That also includes D-Ron here. ...38 feet, man. Those, as I like to say, the schmedium medium lengths and distances. They're so tricky. The real time, that was the ball, right?
That was the one that did majority of the work for me, and the one that put up the big game once I, game 4 there.
The interesting thing was 3 people, including yourself, started throwing that ball around the same time.
Karine Acuff, I know, was another one.
She threw it too, and there was one other player. Now I'm forgetting who it was. Because when Karine first brought it out to the rack, I thought it was a Heat.
Okay.
Same color scheme. Hadn't seen that ball or that type of or color. Excuse me, that color scheme in a long time. And I think I was talking to Derek. Then he had joined for a little bit, talking about Corrine. She throws that out there. Then you had it, and then there was one other person. I'm like, that was clearly the ball, or at least one of the bowling balls that seemed to be a good choice for those who had it, or something similar, which.
Similar to it would be, so anyone that doesn't know, it is a solid ball, even though it is shiny. So it's very clean to start with, but because it is still solid and is a decent sized symmetric core, it's not overreacting in the back end. And it's still going to be able to turn a corner for you. So it was great on today. It's a ball that I've liked, recommended to me by Derek Acuff, who does drill up all my stuff. And he, of course, saw how good it was because Karine had it and used it a lot, and she's very happy with it. And Karine and I, we have very similar taste in bowling balls and what works for us and how we throw the ball. So whenever she has something that's worked out well, chances are it's going to work well for me as well. So when Derek said, "This is the ball you got to get," let's do it. Let's go. And I've been happy with it since I got it. I haven't had too many opportunities to throw it. I just just got it a couple weeks ago, really, and it worked today. That's for sure. Did exactly what I was looking for.
What other bowling balls did you before you end up settling on that one? I think you said you started with not a sensor solid. Is that what you said?
So that was one I did try to throw it for a little bit. I can't remember if that was the one I exactly started with. No, the one I started with was the brand new Ethos solid.
Ethos, gotcha.
But that was a little too strong overall. I kind of recognized at some point. Wasn't getting anywhere down lane at all. And when I did catch it, it was definitely a little too sharp, a little too strong overall. So it reacted through the back. So that's why I decided I was going to try the sensor solid, something that would be a lot weaker, but still want to pick up and roll early enough. And even then, like once I recognized that wasn't getting down lane far enough where I needed it to, when I started moving left, that's when I decided I needed something cleaner. And that's what I landed on. And then a couple of games in the middle, I did throw the Turbo X a little bit in there, trying to see what I can get. But ultimately, just kind of stuck with the real time the rest of the way through. I didn't need anything big at that point. Scores are low, just like they are right now. So you get a big break and you get a good game in there. All you got to do is just kind of grind out 190s, 2-0s the rest of the way. And that's all I was hoping for.
You make it sound so simple.
It's a simple game. We make it incredibly hard.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Boy, D-Ron, just everything he's trying. Just seeing that hook. I mean, that looked like a good shot for about 10 feet. If someone wanted to be bold and take a risk and maybe think completely outside the box, right? If you put your thinking outside the box hat on, based on what you've watched and certainly your own experience on this pattern this morning, is there something else that maybe someone might say, you know what, I haven't seen this done. I've got this ball or type of ball. No one's played here. Like, is there anything that comes to mind you'd say maybe someone should try at this point?
Well, I did see someone try it today.
Okay.
So I've seen everyone try to play far right, up the gutter, or whatever they've tried to do. Just like, who is this directly in front of us? Just got that. If I sent that ball to the right there where he just did, it has no chance to move anywhere off and hit other than the 6-pin in the face. But he went real high flush, or Brooklyn almost, I think. But no, earlier today, while I'm sitting there trying to control the hook and get the ball to get down lane, and still turn a corner, especially when I got to some pairs that were a little bit tighter down lane. The ball wasn't shaping. I looked to my left, and lo and behold, there's Matt Zweig throwing a fever pitch straight up with no hand. He's literally directly up the back of this ball and pointing it at the head pin, basically. And it worked for a couple times. I don't know what he did after that, because that was about the only time I really saw him. But
he ended up catching you.
He was ahead of me going into the final game, or the final 2 games, I believe.
Yeah, he took the lead. He had the lead going into the final game. And then when you described, like, not even just pair to pair, lane to lane, he caught the pair. I forgot it. I think it was either 13 or 14 or 15 and 16.
So
he caught that one of those pairs.
15 and 16 was my low game today, and I say low game because it was 1 pin lower than the previous one. But I was fortunate enough I was clean on it. So I shot a $198. I got lucky for some Brooklyn carries, which is, hey guys, I don't know if you've heard this, but that is the theme of the day. Get lucky with some Brooklyn. And if you're bowling the 5 o'clock squad tonight, I'm going to give you a piece of advice here. Okay. Get to a spot where that if you happen to slightly miss or slightly grab it, you go Brooklyn, and you are in the right spot. Because if you're in a spot where if you miss right and it's sailing on you, you're in the wrong spot. But if you miss left and it goes Brooklyn, you're in the correct spot. So that's where you want to be at. Find a spot where you can comfortably see it hook too early and not down lane far enough. And just take it. Take it with a grain of salt. It's not the funnest thing in the world as a bowler to always go Brooklyn. You feel like you're cheating a little bit at times and you're not throwing great shots. But on this pattern and the way it's playing today, 100%. 100% take them and run with it. And anyone who gives you grief about it, show them your paycheck when you make the cashing. That's all you got to do.
I went down. Someone asked a question earlier about what ball Matt was throwing, so I went down to ask him right at the start of Game 7. And John Conaway was crossing with Matt, and he said, "I should just line up Brooklyn. I've carried every single one that I've left today."
We were joking because he was the Paradon Lesso, so when he was on lanes 1 and 2, he joked about being 100%, and he went probably 3-4 in a row, went Brooklyn, and every time. There's Virginia, my girl, right in the back there, just saying 100%, 100%. Hey, it was a good game. It gave him a little bit of a boost there. So it's, is what it is, guys. It's not how, it's how many.
Kyle Duster in the chat. Hello to Kyle. He got himself a 1-round bye by finishing second.
Great roll off between him and Ponzo last night to do so.
Yesterday, had to do some bonus bowling to get there, but he says you're giving away all of your secrets.
Sorry, Kyle. My apologies, Duster.
Well, that could be interesting next door. Unfortunately, Kyle Michalowski just fouled on the fill. So he shoots 212 instead of the possible 222. And the way the scores are bunched together, he was 4th. That's the kind of thing that could really come into play, unfortunately. We'll keep an eye on that. But what it does do, it gets him to -2. He would have been plus going into the final game. So intriguing, to say the least here. 8 Kiesick, by the way, too. Kiesick, buck 60, Cortez. Going to be in the 2 teams. I think Bob Wiley came over, and it's his birthday too, by the way.
Yes, yes, it is.
I thought I heard something about some shots.
And he's not talking bowling at this moment,
I didn't think
guys.
he was.
He's at the point where he needs the shots rather than the beer to make the day a little bit better. And that's why I'm trying not to laugh too hard into the microphone right now, because he had me rolling.
Appreciate all the good people that have been hanging out with me and us all day. We started today at 7 a.m. Then moved into our 12 o'clock squad. I think the next squad starts at 5.
5 o'clock. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he still has some openings. I'm not entirely sure how many are left. But if you're in the area and you feel like bashing your head in a little bit, come on down.
Well, there is a reward if you can get to tomorrow.
Absolutely. Great payouts overall. I mean, obviously the 10K up top. But even then, like, I don't know what the final payout is going to be, how far down he goes. But it's worth it for the entry, for sure. Dwight Burns gets off 1 and 2 with a 217, so he'll most likely maintain his lead, I believe.
So Burns at 217. Cortez shot 216.
Is he crossing with Kyle?
They are not crossing together. Oh, that Kyle, yes. Yeah, sorry. Michalowski, you're referencing, yes. So just for the record, so we said that Burns he will get to plus 56.
Michalowski 212.
And then
Cortez 216.
he'll be at. Oh, wait, I did that wrong. Oh, yeah. Plus 76, plus 71. Beg your pardon. So that'll be at Burns at plus 76, Tez at plus 71. I forgot to see what Sean Wood finished with there in front of us. Sean was plus 11. All right, we're rolling into game number 7, 7th and final game here. Let's change that graphic. Players who are ready to bowl, Derek Acuff, and boy, Derek, he's got that same look.
He always has that look.
Well, I understand the look, because this did not go the way he certainly was hoping. Intended, looking forward to bowling. It's so crazy how, Mike Hardesty joined me yesterday. I think you were listening at that point, maybe a little bit yesterday afternoon.
It was probably during the transition time when I left the house. I chimed in to watch for a minute,
Okay.
then I left the house and came here. So.
Gotcha. Well, so we were talking about, Ben Perry just made it look, right? I don't like to use the word easy, but extremely scoreable.
Scoreable is the right word. He gave a lot of people false hope.
You got that right, because
Great bowling, Ben.
Mike and I are
Look
in
to
here
see you tomorrow.
like, okay, boy, every lefty's going to be excited to get out here and get to work. And it has been just as much of a struggle on the left side as it has been on the right, even with Ben Perry going 156 over.
Yeah. So he did a little bit of tricking with the ball. Was speaking with Brett Wolf, so another phenomenal lefty bowler who struggled big time yesterday with getting good ball reaction where he wanted it and everything else. So with the fact that he was talking about Ben was tricking the ball a little bit, he was shoving it kind of straight up, somewhere between 5 and 10 with a urethane ball without really grabbing on it or going anywhere. So something that a lot of other people weren't doing, weren't able to generate the same ball shape to get results. A lot of people would do that, and the ball would hit and just kind of bounce or deflect away. So you're leaving everything. But, so Ben, great bowling yesterday, great scoring. I'm going to say great scoring because I don't know. I can't assume that you threw the ball phenomenal or not. I didn't see any of it. I would imagine you threw it pretty great, though, overall. And I look forward to bowling against you tomorrow.
Sean Wood, by the way, shot 192.
Still on the plus side then.
So he's going to be at plus 3. Oh, that's a number that Matt Jones got to, and he ended up being 4th on the squad this morning, and he ran that number down.
He did. He had a great last game to get to that spot. 227, I believe, was his final game to jump up into the cup.
Well, that might be the most consistent look Derek has had all day. What he just said to himself, I won't repeat, but gives me reason to believe he might be bowling again.
No, I'm pretty sure he is. We were discussing it. Like, I got here, watched him throw some shots. He was trying some things out, moved to another pair, tried some different stuff out. So he's been kind of experimenting to get an idea of what shapes is going to, kind of see the next block, I'm sure. So we'll see if it helps out or if it gives them a, like as we said, every lane is going to be different. Who you cross with, who you follow, makes a massive difference in every game. So if he gets the same people or same type of people throwing the same spots, then what he sees now is going to help him out. If he has nowhere even close to that area code, it's a crapshoot.
That's going to sound crazy, and obviously you're not left-handed, so.
I am not. At times I definitely wish I was, but.
It would be a question in particular, certainly for him, but I think we counted at least 4 lefties. Now that I say that, I think there's actually 5.
All right, so let's look around the field here. I was starting from the left to right. There's no one on 1 and 2 that I'm aware of right now. No one on 3 and 4s. You got Acuff and the guy he's crossing with, Ken
Thurman.
Okay. You got Hunter. Gentleman in the pink and black jersey right there with the ponytail.
I believe that's Nate Kiesick. Like sitting down. Is that what you're referring to?
Yes.
Yep.
And then Dwight Burns, another one. And Calvin Hugger.
Yep. And then there's a taller Zach Van Dusen, who's also left hand. So there's way more than 5.
And Sagaden. Mike Sagaden, up right now on lane 11.
Yeah, so that's 8, which is the highest amount we've seen through any squad. I'm curious from the lefties' perspective how that may have made a difference in some capacity.
Well, so in Acuff's case here, we're talking about he's crossing with a lefty the entire time. So he's not following that one. So there's one that's kind of nullified. When you cross with somebody, the transition happens during the game, not before you get there to try to figure it out. The hardest part is figuring out where to start. You throw the ball, you hope it's a good reaction, and you only have to make a minor move. Sometimes you throw a ball, and it is even close to where you had to look at before. So having the same, one of the lefties on his pair with him can help him out because 1, the guy can maybe bowl before him, see the ball reaction, what happens. 2, there's one less that's in front of you that you have to follow and see the thing, see the ball shape.
Joining us late, Game 7, C Squad. Final game of this squad is about to be completed. One more full squad of 7 games left. That'll be the D squad, and it is scheduled for 5 p.m. local time. Also 5 p.m. Pacific, 7 Central, 8 Eastern. Those of you who would like to end your evening with a little bit of a bowling nightcap, hang around for that, as well as the Desperado.
Always an entertaining time, that Desperado. And I know Theo's going to absolutely hate it that I'm going to put it out there in the universe, but hopefully we do not have a roll-off afterwards again like we've had previous years to make it even longer of a night.
Well, you already put it in the universe.
I did put it in the universe, and I said Theo's going to hate me for it. So, guys, you can blame me, or Theo can yell at me later on if it happens to happen.
That's funny.
That's okay. Theo already hates me at times, so it's all good.
I fully expect it to happen.
I mean,
we've had 2 of the 3 previous years.
And we already had at least one roll-off this year already with Duster and Ponzo last night. And the reason why they needed one last night is, Serwin, top 2 in your squad are guaranteed a bye. They tied for second. So they had to figure out who got the bye and who has to bowl the first round. And then that one, and even that roll-off came to a roll-off. They were tied after the 9th and 10th roll-off, so they went into sudden death, and I believe it went 2-3 rounds. I think it was the second round. Second round is when Duster finally, was able to capitalize on a miss hit by Ponzo to move on. And I have to say their last names because we did mention that yesterday they're both Kyles. They're both named Kyle. So when we said Kyle, you start, you had to specify.
That's funny.
And then we had to wait for them to finish before I can go out there and bowl my 162 game 1 of no tap.
You got so much crap for that.
All day today, too. I was notified, I think all 3 of my first games, even though they weren't great, they were solid, that they were higher than what I shot the night before. And then I almost centuried myself on 1 and 2. I was trying. That would have been nice because that means I was shot at 260 or more.
That was a very nice crowd, too, by the way. I want to make sure I reiterate that.
These guys were phenomenal to bowl with.
Close to 80 bowlers.
Good. It was a big, solid turnout. Guys, so you know, here at Lakeview, we're in Sun City. It is a retirement community. The center is owned by, it's like an organization, an association. So you have to be a member to bowl in this building. And this Pro-Am that we had was nothing but all the association members, basically, and all the people that are part of it. So these guys were so thankful to have us here and have so much fun bowling with. And we appreciate every single thing that they do for us here in this area. They keep these centers extremely nice. There's 3 of them in the area. I think it is this one and Bell Rec that I believe are under the same association. And then you have R.H. Johnson, which is under its own separate one, I believe. But all same concepts where they're not they're non-profit bowling centers. Every money that's made in the bars, the lanes for open play, all goes right back into the association stuff. The association comes out and they allocate the funds to keep everything nice. So that's why these places are clean. They're spotless. They're the good conditions. The approaches. The machines run well. Everything about it is just absolutely amazing.
Wow, that's impressive. I did not know that part of it with regard to the not-for-profit. Folks, if you wouldn't mind to just hit the thumbs up if you haven't already on this particular vid. And subscribe if you have not already to Bowl Stream TV. Trying to get to 10K. And working on some ways to diversify the content offering. So you can have some of your live streamed events along with some other things. Mike, do you watch content online?
Every now and then.
Every now and then.
Okay.
What catches your attention, generally speaking, when you do peruse the internets for bowling content?
I mean, so obviously one of the most popular ones out there is the house.
Sure.
So I was actually watching a little bit of their low ball challenge that they had the other day. And guys, this was entertaining. So it's, there was 2-on-2. They were bowling low ball. So if anyone doesn't know what that is, that means you're trying to get the lowest score possible on every one of your shots. And if you happen to throw it in the gutter, it counts as a strike. If you throw it in the gutter, you miss everything on the second ball, it counts as a spare. So throwing it into the ditch is not good. So ideally, you're looking at getting the 7 off the one shot and the 10 off the other to get a 2. That is your ultimate goal. And there were some shots, and I first saw it on Facebook of one of the little video posts that came up where Kevin Williams threw a shot, hit the 7-pin. The ball, the pin bounced around the back, hit the 10-pin. The 10-pin toppled over, took out the 5-pin. So out of a full rack, took out the 5, 7, 10. Unbelievable to see. And then on top of that, right afterwards, guys, is when Packy went and took out the 7-pin, and it took out the entire back row, and only the back row. So back-to-back shots on this thing. It was so entertaining to watch these guys do this, and just crazy things to happen. So that was a fun one to watch. Another one, obviously, Darren Tang has a lot of entertaining videos. Some of the fun ones is his league stuff that he bowls. Those are the type of things I'm looking at. Like they're fun. It's not just, hey, watch me bowl. It's entertaining, joking around, having a good time, and then crazy shots happen at times. You also like to see a lot of the guys that are, like it's their very first 300 game. How excited, we forget how entertaining or how much of a big deal that is for a lot of these guys still, like to shoot a 300, and no matter your skill level you do it should be celebrated to some extent, and those videos really show just how much it means to a lot of people.
in the booth with Michael Fitzgerald, who led the way during the 7 a.m. squad this morning. Got up early to put the work in. He didn't waste his time at plus 84. So to this point, this is game 7, and Theo is just about done with all scores, so I'll give you the update here in just one moment. But Ben Perry yesterday led A squad at noon. That was the only squad of the day on Friday at plus 156. We talked about Kyle Ponzo and Kyle Duster tying, but it's ultimately Duster through the tiebreaker. So it's technically the 1-2 or the 2 there, followed by Ponzo and then GT2. We talked about GT and what he did yesterday to get to plus 73. Then this morning, Fitzgerald plus 84. He was followed by Matt Zweig at plus 29. Andrew Kane was plus 14 to get a spot to match play. And Matt Jones was the 4th and final member of the B squad this morning to get a spot at plus 3. Now, just about all scores are in. Dwight Burns, as we mentioned, plus 76. Cortez Shank plus 71. And then there is a drop off. Sean Wood plus 3. Kyle Michalowski minus 2. The next closest player to Kyle is Zach Van Dusen at minus 66.
We have a 60-pin drop-off from this last game is still very vital.
Oh, absolutely. It's not over with yet.
And we've seen games that are as low as like 120s in the building, I believe, so far, and we've seen games as high as 260s. So someone that's even in the top 4 right now can get knocked out if they do not finish up at least a decent game here, even with that 60-pin lead. It can swing in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I'm interested because Sean Wood is would have been down on the high end unless I'm somehow skipping him. But there, whoever bowled on the high end is already done, and his score is very important. So we'll take a look at that. Kyle should be down there as well. He is. He's near.
Him and Tez bowling together on 15 and 17
and 18. Yep.
So yeah, 19 and 20 is already, and I believe that is Sean Wood's pair. I'm gonna go see if I can figure it out what that score was real quick and see how big of a difference this is gonna make right now if they're already done. I'll be right back.
Okay. Looks like a 4-player race, folks. Well, it looks like just about the 4 players are determined, but as we said, you don't want to leave it to chance if you're Sean Wood or Kyle Michalowski. Can't believe the significant difference, though, in this squad. 3 players plus. All clean game indeed for Mr. Thurman.
Okay. I am back. I did a little scouting. So Sean Wood, I believe he said his last game was a 191. -6, I believe, was what he said his ultimate score was. Mikulášský on the pair next to him looked like he finished off at 2. It was either 210 or 220. I don't remember for a fact.
224.
So he should be good.
Oh, he's more than good.
Yeah. Tez struggled a little bit, but he had a good lead. He's going to still probably finish up second, it looks like, in this squad. I'm not seeing any big games anywhere for anyone to jump up. So I think your top 4 are going to remain the same. Should be Dwight Burns, Cortez is 1 and 2, whatever order that goes in. Not sure because I don't know what either one of them was really shooting, and they were really close to each other still, I believe. But they're going to be your 1 and 2, most likely, get your 1 round bye. And then your 3rd and 4th to make the cut right now is going to be Mikulášský and Wood. Unless there's something I am not seeing somewhere.
No, I mean, it's hard to, I don't like to say it's pretty cut and dry because generally it's not.
But that is, I mean, there's a big lead off between the 4th and 5th there. So
Kyle, yeah, he can only finish at 204, and this is, I'm sorry, Zach Van Dusen can only shoot 204. He was in 5th. If Calvin Hugger could have just figured out a way to turn some of the 160 games, unfortunately for him, into some 180s.
Yeah, that would have been about 60 extra pins he would have had. He would have been in the hunt for it right there last game. His big games were on 7 and 8 and 9 and 10. So I don't know what it was about those particular pairs, but they were the ones indeed. There's Calvin on cue. Getting a little fist pump, and he's trying to finish off with a confident note, but still got a great game here.
Yeah, the middle of the house. Maybe it's the middle of the house for him.
It makes a difference, guys. So even though he's not going to get a spot guaranteed, the top 6 that are not in from their squad overall score get the spots to the final spots into the bracket. And right now, I think -50 was the number before this squad, right? Was the top 6 out of the numbers?
Yeah, and there was a tie at -54. If it comes to that.
So this last game here, finishing strong, it can put him above that number, and he can still get into the bracket through those spots.
I got to tell you, I don't know if Troy Blickenstaff is watching, or if somebody knows Troy, but I heard him say he wasn't going to bowl anymore. But right now, his highest number is -54. Who shot 240 over there?
I don't know. I just looked up and saw the score, 246 on the pair in front of us here at 3 and 4, but I'm not sure who it was.
Who finished over there? Well, we know it wasn't. I mean, 240 still won't get anybody.
Not into the cut number but to the point about the top 6 that are outside those top 4 across the board.
Let me finish my point on Troy. So he's at -54, and I thought he bowled really well this morning.
I crossed with him. We started on the same pair, and he threw the ball phenomenally that first game. And his slow ball speed with the high rev rate, and he's just getting that urethane to arc all the way through no matter how far out he got it. It was impressive to watch. And I thought that ball motion, if he had it all day long, and again, right lane moves right, left lane moves left. So after game 1, we split directions. I never saw him again until game 4. And at this point, he looked like he was a little fried at the moment. So he must have had some bad stuff going on those last, those 3 games or so.
Yeah, it was a hiccup or two. He had 4 180 games.
His game is very similar to Duster's. It's just the slow roll, the hook, all the way across. Obviously, both being two-handers, they can put a lot of revs on it. But and I think they both have the same kind of thing. I think Duster was throwing a urethane all the way through for the better part. I know he did in the final, the roll-off. And inside and kind of wheeling it a little bit. And so Troy had that same kind of look when we started, and so it'll be interesting if he. I'm guessing you're saying he's going to come back and bowl again at 5.
No, he was saying that he was not going to bowl anymore.
Oh, because does he think he's in?
No, no, not at all. He just someone in crossing. Someone asked him, "Hey, what do you think about? You think he'll bowl again?" And I heard him say no. He was not going to bowl again. At the time, I looked at his score and was like, "Okay, I can understand why he would say that." After watching this full squad, knowing that even now minus 54 still has a chance to get him in, I might bowl at 5 just to see if I can
Push
get
it up
few
a little
pins.
bit higher.
Yeah. I mean, because his look was good enough.
It was
to get to even minus 20 in that range.
easily. I feel
and
easily.
certainly more than that. His look was that good.
Guys, I say easily, like, minus 20 is no big deal. It's a huge deal in this tournament right now. It's hard. Don't get me wrong. You need some luck involved to get some scores. But, no, Troy's got the skill set. He has the look. And if he took everything he got from this morning squad and then, realized what's going on. Oh, Calvin,
somebody call Peter Parker.
Yes. Troy does remind a lot of people of Peter Parker. I'm going to let you know that right now. He is
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
He told me that. And I thought he had a twin. I was confusing him with someone else. And I think who I'm confusing with, they live in New Mexico. But when I said that, he said, no, but people always think I look like Spider-Man.
Yes.
Spider-Man's my twin. And then I saw it. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I could see that, actually. But, yeah, I don't – I mean, obviously, this is where it gets tricky, right? Budgets, how much you want to spend this weekend. There's real conversations.
Yes.
I think he said it was like – I think he said he had too many Brooklyns. That was his response.
Hey.
When someone had too many Brooklyns. I don't know if he was talking about himself or the field or whatever.
Yeah,
but
I can see, Troy, if you made the comment or someone else, it's definitely the field. And I am part of that. So, like I said earlier, it's part of the game. And unfortunately, with how hard the shot is, the slight miss, the ball goes that way quickly and easily. It's just a matter if you carry it or not. I do know, so Drew was on the pair to my left. And he went Brooklyn a couple times. And his only complaint was he didn't kick out the 2-pin when he went Brooklyn.
that's understandable. Well, another situation where we are going to wait for Theo's official number. Big thanks to Sean Butterfield, who I met yesterday, who does a lot of work just in the production, broadcast, live stream business. Loves bowling, and happened to be here this week. So he, too, asked if he could help with anything. Want to give him a shout-out because he was watching a few scores down there. He did say that Dwight was struggling. He had 106 in the 8th.
The last game you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know how he finished, but assuming that even if he shot 160, let's see, it wouldn't or shouldn't be. It could have been enough to possibly fall out of bye contention. So we will be waiting for the official tally here.
Well, he's still walking around. And Dwight's a pretty calm guy. He's never really wanted to be upset or throw anything. But it's always a good sign when someone's not throwing their ball into their bag right now when they're done. So I would say, if I were a betting man, I would say he's still in the bye. He still gets a bye. But that would most likely mean that Cortez took the lead then for this squad.
So a couple stories as we prepare or wait for the official cut announcements for C Squad here. Is Dwight Burns or Cortez Shank your leader? If they both, again, are in the top 2, they both receive 1-round bye, so kind of no biggie there. If Dwight did have a low enough game that will remove him from that first or second spot, then obviously he would lose that bye and possibly could go to Kyle Michalowski, who had a very nice ending to his block. I have seen more players today have games 5, 6, 7 be their best.
Well, to answer our question, the 246 that was shot earlier was by Taylor Esping.
Correct.
It only gets him. It was minus 120. But guys, there is a super game 7 side pot. Pays out well. So if you're going to get a big game in one big game only, that's when you want it. And that if he's in that pot, he more than made his entry for the day.
Dwight Burns, according to tournamentbowl.com, shot 140. Gets him to plus 16. And if that would mean Kyle's score is not officially in yet. So we'll wait for the official. But Michalowski may have came back and grabbed a bye.
I think if I looked correctly, I think Michalowski, like I said, it was either 210 or 220. I don't know how he finished the 10th frame.
I was
220,
told
220 gets him? Like the 220 gets it?
224 would be
210 would not.
Right.
So
he's going to be in the top 4. That is for certain. And it looks like Sean Wood is going to be there as well. Somebody call Troy. I think my guy's got a ball. I think he's got a ball at 5.
So what are we looking at here? Outside those numbers, your next one.
As soon as these scores.
Jessica, the next one, Osberg, or is it just not updated enough yet to see someone that's
We're
above
missing 2 scores, and they're from Cortez and Kyle.
Of course. But so outside those top 4 that we're looking at, so your next one is Jessica Nosbush at minus 59. So that keeps that minus, what was it, 54?
Minus 54.
As the number for the overall outside those top automatic bids.
Yeah, that was the cutoff. I'm going to go through it one more time before we go off the air, just for the viewers who are still listening. Come on, dudes. We need that score sheet. I thought Troy bowled better this morning than he did yesterday, and he actually scored 8 pins worse.
Really? I didn't know he bowled yesterday.
He bowled at noon yesterday. Well,
oh, wait, actually, yeah, you're right. I did know that. I saw it. I got messages that he threw back up a little bit at times, though.
He did yesterday for a little bit. I truly thought he bowled well. That's why I'm saying he's someone that stuck out to me to have a look that will get him to, like, the cutoff, let's just say it's minus 25. His look would get him to minus 25, considering he had 4 180s. 210, 180, 180, 170, 180.
All right, numbers are in. Michalowski, 224 was last game, so that actually gets him that by 6.
Wow. I mean, theoretically, no one from this squad. Well, I really thought Jessica, too. Boy. He could have got rid of those 160s again. DJ Kneifel does not need to bowl. I'm just throwing that out. Now I'm like, there's no chance he's bowling. Well, folks, that's so your number here for C Squad is minus 6. Minus 6. Gets you into match play. Nice job by Sean Wood. Able to hang on and just grind and get to a safe spot to advance straight to match play. Or I'm sorry, advance to the match play bracket. What an interesting squad.
It was a big squad, though. We had some a decent turnout. We're obviously hoping for more. Keep getting this tournament to grow. I'm looking forward to see how big the next squad is. Whether or not I'm still hanging around in the building itself for it, I don't know. But I have a feeling I will be. That's just what I do on a weekend.
Well, let's let me name off a few names. The A-Cuffs have already re-entered. They're in. Matt Anderson.
Oh, yes.
Is that the Matt Anderson that just bowled Yossi's and is the brother of Andrew Anderson?
That is correct. Coming off of a big set out there. Great bowling to them and their entire team. They put up monster numbers.
So Alex Benton, Brianna Cote, who bowled this morning, she is re-entered. Reggie Elliott, Keith Fung bowled this morning. He is re-entered. Jericho was just on the lanes. He is bowling again. So is Kyle Gilbert. Sean Grant's bowling. Mike Hardesty bowling for the first time. James Hawkins. Ryan Howard's another player I thought his ball speed, he could be able to use that to his advantage. And he ended up at, shoot, what did Ryan Howard get to? Now we're going to go to the up to
A squad only, right? Because he bowled with me or B squad only. So he bowled with me this morning.
he's at -7.
Oh, yeah, no, he doesn't need a bowl again.
I don't know if he wants to bowl.
I don't think you need a bowl again.
I don't think he needs to bowl either.
I think you are safe. You have a 40-some-odd pin lead, and only, 2 people are ahead of you that are outside the number? Maybe 1?
Yeah, now Dwight's in.
Dwight's in.
Yeah, Dwight's in, and Cortez is in, Kyle's in. Yeah, it's just DJ Kneifel at +42. It's currently leading would be in the 6 overall scores, and then next would be Ryan Howard.
Ryan Howard, you're fine. You would have to have 5 people shoot plus, and there's been a handful only throughout through 3 squads. I think you are okay.
Yeah. Anthony James, Kevin Jenkins, Christine Johnson bowling again, Mike Jones, I think we just saw Mike.
Yep.
Kyle King and Chris Clerk are bowling for the first time tonight. Brandon Knapp, Chad Lucci bowling again. John Mayer bowling again. Mikey McQuiston, Sean Noshbush, Cesar Padilla Jr. again. Robbie Patterson, Ryan Riley, Garnet Strail, Dylan Taylor's bowling. Sean Wyatt Truskowski is bowling again.
Yeah, coin toss which name you want to use.
Aaron Yamamoto, that's why I use them both.
Yeah.
And Kyle Wakefield, that's a pretty
pretty stacked field overall.
pretty strong 5 p.m.
Well, we're going to find out what happens. I mean,
Scores. Maybe Ryan. Maybe that's why Ryan is bowling. That's a strong field.
I'm going to put out this. You are sitting in second right now overall, outside of your squad. Okay. Take it. I feel like you're going to be okay. Even though as strong as this field sounds, they all have to fight each other with the lane conditions and the transitions that they create. And we've seen some big names do nothing, like way down. Like we've seen it. So if I were you and you're sitting at -7, right? That's what you said he was at?
Brian is at -7.
Sit back, watch it happen. If you get in, great. That means you saved a lot of money and you make a bigger profit. If you come back and you bowl again, obviously you're paying a little bit extra to come in, and you're trying to beat that previous score that only 10 people in the entire field have done so far, realistically speaking, right? That's roughly the number we're looking at. I like your odds. Stay at -7 and just let the balls roll.
Well, I tell you, I mean, Chad's in a similar situation. But again, based on his squad, he's also not at -7, so the pins do matter. He's at -24. He's tied with Charlie Price. John Mayer is actually, again, scheduled to bowl at 5. He's at -33. And then there's Steve Matthews and Troy Blickenstaff tied at -54. I'll make sure I get the correct ruling if someone ties, or if there's a tie for the 6th spot of that group. Is there a roll-off there?
You will have to have a roll-off.
And when does that happen?
I believe it's got to happen before the Desperado.
Well,
it would
true.
have to happen before
That's
the
true.
Desperado, because otherwise that guy who just missed out from the roll-off, he has to have an opportunity for the Desperado still.
Somebody call Troy and let him know all these possibilities.
I'm sure
do
he
it.
knows. And I'm sure he knows
Do it
what his
for me.
bank account is and where he wants to, how much money he wants to put up. So
He
Troy, if you're listening, man, a great bowling today. Unfortunately, pins didn't go your way for our block, but you still have that chance. You're sitting on the bubble right now to make the cut, and I hope you do. I hope you make it with that. If you don't bowl again, if you come back and bowl again, shut down the lanes, man. Just destroy them, put up a big number, and then come back on Sunday that way.
This is interesting squad, and this top 6 of the players who would not receive the autos is getting even more intriguing as well. And we'll have it all for you at 5 p.m. local, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. Final 7 games of qualifying, and then that will be followed by the Desperado. We'll know the 22 players, the first 22 after the D squad hits the lanes, and then our final 2 tonight will come from the Desperado. With that said, okay. Kyle says Duster, that is. Troy has been getting live updates. Well, he knows the deal. It should be interesting. Mike, Appreciate you hanging in there, man. Thanks for hopping on these last couple.
Oh, my pleasure, man. It's always fun in the booth with you,
Very
talking with you, and
nice.
seeing
Very
you around.
nice insight onto what was going down on the lanes. With that, we will see you in 2 hours. Now, 1 hour and 44 minutes to be exact. For Mike Fitzgerald, I want to thank Carl Long, who joined me for the first few games. Theo Duthay, of course, of Complete Bowling Events, the tournament director here at the Cactus Classic, CBE 10K Cactus Classic. Mike Dermeyer, Reed Gibbs, and everyone here at Lakeview Lanes. I'll see you in just a little bit. D Squad is next. This has been a presentation of C Squad here at the CBE 10K Cactus Classic. You watch it live and only on Bowl Stream TV.